Oh my goodness, the fucking Garuga Mesh emote's actually here. Hell yeah, it's so good. Holy shit, that's fantastic. Oh my goodness, that is so fucking good. Morning, Abs, how's it going, man? Good morning, Shay. Good morning, Siege. Look at you guys, all pouring in. You'd be happy to know that I've gotten a full night's sleep. I got my full 3 hours in, so I'm set for the day. Let's go. Let's have a good old duel stream. We're gonna be duel streaming with my girl Angevir Art, who is an incredible artist. She's so stinking good. But since we're waiting for her to set up, let's switch over. Let's show you guys what I've been doing for a little bit. Letting on Discord a few minutes before we go live, making me look like a liar. What do you mean? I didn't say anything of the sort. I would never do that to you. You're precious and must be cherished. Let's switch over. So I did this, I worked a little bit more on this painting. This is where I left it and posted it on the Instagram. But yeah, this was more of an experiment than anything else. Because I designed a bunch of these characters as some tests for silhouetting stuff. We had this little boy over here. We still don't have a name for him, by the way. But I wanted to see if I could take this into a full painting, because I haven't worked with silhouettes ever before, and it's going to be a really big part of the work that I'm going to be doing in the next week, so I thought it was a good idea just to experiment on Saturday, and it turned out to be quite okay, so we can actually get a decent painting out of it. Unfortunately, I picked the most blandest, dullest atmosphere to paint this guy in, but it's okay, it's not too bad. Just a mental note to do a color swatch before, and we also did an armor study, so these two things led to that thing over there. Which is kind of cool. This was a 32-minute armor study, which is kind of fun. So my studies are going to be a little bit looser heading into the future, because I don't particularly want to waste as much time as I usually do on them. I just want to do them for a very specific reason, and when that reason's fulfilled, then I move on to the full piece. Because we're going to have to do so much more designing than actual painting in the next few months, next couple of months actually. That's going to be the goal. So unfortunately, the stream is going to be dramatically less interesting, I feel like, because I'm not an expert designer, I'm a good painter. I think overall I'm a decent painter. Some examples of my work here. But as far as designing and concepting goes, my chops need to be a little bit revitalized. It's been a while since we've done it last on stream. Solomir, good to see you, man. Angevir is just setting up, just waiting for her. If you want to know what we're drawing today, I'm going to be doing this little boy. Look at him. He's so beautiful. I love his little floopy ears. And it's going to be excellent for me because one of my characters has a floopy ear. So I'm going to be reappropriating those floopy ears for my own dastardly purposes. It's going to be good. But yeah, just checking to see what Angevir's doing. She did say 11, so I started my stream at 11. But apparently someone doesn't keep the same time as me. So it feels pretty bad. Let me just go ahead and do this. I also have a lovely iced coffee. What's the temperature like? I would join, but I'm eating. Very convenient, Abs. Very convenient. But we're going to be streaming for a couple of hours, I think. Actually, I don't know. It depends on if she wants to do a painting based on the study. Because the study itself is going to be just for an hour, maybe, at the most. Today's beverage of the day is from the company Emmy. It's a cafe latte cappuccino. Classic remix with a hint of chocolate and blended with Arabica coffee. From Nicaragua and Honduras. I know what those are. God bless. What is up with this fucking hate? I don't remember the world being this hot. Have I just grown in size since the last year and I'm just so much less suited to tolerate it? What's up with this? It might just be the part of the world I'm living in, because I live on the coast in India, and it never really hits me as hard as it is in the Netherlands. But I'm going to be back in India actually quite soon to go visit my parents again. So I'm going to be enjoying the nice air-conditioned comfort of my house. Maybe 15-20 days. 5 a.m. stream, time zones, how do they work? Welcome, Polly. I think I saw you go online last night. Shout out to Polly. He's the person responsible for all of these emotes, plus 2 more that he sent me that I have put up towards Twitch. They're currently pending. That study one might be my favorite one so far, along with the bag one. The bag one's fantastic. We're big fans of Polly's work. Go check him out if you want some sick emotes. I think he does good work and very quick turnaround. Heat wave, hottest temperatures around the EU. Yeah, no kidding, right? For some reason, I still feel like last year was worse than this, but it could just be that either I was less suited for it. There was just way more shit in my house that was kind of insulating everything. We've had some rains in here, so it's been not too bad. I guess I'll just go ahead and finish my coffee. I thought the color dodge was the best application I've ever had in the study one. Wait, oh, you mean the chroma? Color dodge. I can start doing a couple of scripts, but I'm already fucking up. I'm already fucking up and I just started. Hey James, answer my messages. Wait, what? Am I ignoring you? Oh, right. Sorry. I was on streamer mode on Discord. What did you want me to do? Jesus Christ. Hold on, let me mute everything. I don't know how loud she's gonna be. Hold on. I'm gonna mute my mic. Or maybe I won't.
Give me 1 second.
Okay, hello. The diagonal light? Yeah, I mean, I thought it was really cool. But I thought it killed the read a little bit. So I know it was really cool, but I wanted just a regular one because I thought that
Okay,
just.
I think this is working now.
Can I get a quick little check for Anjavir's audio, please? Is your stream up and running?
Yeah, it is on.
Okay, let me just check if I edited the dual stream command. Did I? Oh.
Okay,
Quickly
I'm
do
going
that.
to post that too, in case there's anyone who don't know of you yet. Probably not. Okay, that is working.
Oh Jesus Christ! I just got raided by Pam. Oh my goodness.
What happened?
I got a massive raid. Oh goodness gracious Christ. Pam, no, Pam, why are you streaming this early? What's wrong with you? How's it going, guys? Welcome. My goodness, that is a large amount of people. That is an unusually large amount of people. Sit back, how's it going? Siege. Vol. Did I say Nagi in there as well? Shayroz, Alex. My goodness, how's it going, guys? Welcome. We're just getting started with the study right now, but yeah, that's an overwhelming amount of support. Thanks so much. And yeah, it's Pam's 1-year partner anniversary or streamer anniversary or something like that. I should know this being her offspring, but I guess I'm just dumb and ignorant. But how's it going, guys? Good to see you. My name is Indiana Bud, aka James. I am a study streamer. At least I was a study streamer, and now I am transitioning into being an actual artist person because I'm trying to make my original pieces for the year. So it's that time of the year where I start doing original work. So we've started that off pretty shakily, but we're getting there. If you guys are not familiar, people in my community, for Pam, that's Pam right there. I painted Pam a while ago. Look at how beautiful she is. She's so perfect. But I paint streamers, and Pam is one of 2 people that inspired me to start painting, to start painting again, along with this man. It's J Hansen not right there. So I paint streamers on occasion. If you're a streamer, watch out. Watch out, Anjavir, you're gonna get painted. You're all gonna get painted.
Better hide my picture then.
Well, it's on your art station.
Ah, damn it. No, it's too small. I don't think you can do anything with it.
Had that one before. Okay, so if you guys are wondering who I'm painting along with today, I am doing a warm-up with Anjavir Art, who is crazy artist and a good member of my community. I can give you the links right there. Give a shout out to Anjavir. Also give a shout out to Pam. Forgot a mod in here. Do I have any mod that wakes up this early in the morning? Pam had an epic stream. I know, it was so crazy long.
Are you intending to stream your this page?
Oh.
Yep.
No. It's all good. It was a 14-hour stream. Pam, you must be absolutely dead right now. Jesus Christ. 14 hours. Domo, dude. Is that the Dominic Domo Stanton in my chat? Congrats on the finished thing, Domo. I saw the announcement. You're so good, man. Holy shit. My Nagi sub just died? Oh. Yeah, shouts to Domo. If you guys aren't familiar with like Domo or Nagi or Shay in Pam's chat, go follow these people. They are just royalty to me. And Kayla in there. Holy shit, there's so many people. My goodness. I've painted most of these people. I painted Nagi, I painted Kayla, I painted Pam. Shay, you're next on my list. I actually have your canvas prepped, Shay, for your face, but I haven't got around to painting it because I'm just lazy, I guess.
Well, stop being lazy then.
Oh, just don't tell me what to do, alright? We just had a deal streaming. You're not Bonnie, alright? Alright, we're gonna be painting this real quick. Let me just fix my timer. Do you have the reference up?
Yep, I have everything ready.
Okay, so me and Angiver both paint, I think she paints a lot quicker than I do, but I paint fairly quickly myself, so this is going to be a very quick study. What is the time limit?
We're about the same speed.
What is the time limit though?
I mean, depending on how far we want to push it, but this is either 45 or an hour. I think we can do it in 45 though.
Let's do it in 45. Sounds good. Let me just set a timer up and running. So guys, every single day on my stream we do deal streams. Well, not sometimes deal streams, but we do studies more importantly. So I can show you some of those real quick. So I run a community where we all try to learn art together. I can show you some excerpts from the Discord. Hopefully there's nothing with bits out there. I think it's all good. Here we go. These are the kind of things. Also, Pam, what were you working on? I saw you doing sub-animals, I think, before I got on. But here's some of the work that we do. We studied some statues the other day. We do monster studies, some more statues, bunch of birds. We did a lot of birds. We did eagles. Too many birds. This is way too many. But if you want to see, I can pinpoint to you Angiver's work in here, which is pretty goddamn sick. See, that's what Angiver does. This is the artist that I'm streaming right now. She's pretty goddamn sick. Okay, I'm going back to cooking. Alright, go back to cooking. You don't have to tell me lies, I'm not lying to you. But yeah, usually I do the one with Bonnie, but I can't stream that late in the evening anymore. But this is what we do. So we have a good little community here that we all paint along with, and we have a good amount of fun. So join in. I know it might be really obscenely early for a lot of you guys, but if you guys are European, I welcome you to join in the study. Everything is on the Discord. Hit that exclamation mark Discord to join. Get those references. We're going to be beginning in just a second. Thanks, Seth. Appreciate you.
So, are we ready to get going?
Yeah, we should be good. So we go in 3, 2... My timer's not working. And now it's working. Alright, so 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay.
So how do you approach study like this?
My approach, basically, kind of similar to yours, really. I kind of prep the background first, because it's like, just to get it out of the way. Since we're not doing like a landscape or anything, so just block in those colors and get going, and then it's really not that different from yours, to be completely honest.
Okay, I'm going to be painting this a little bit looser than I usually do, which might be interesting, but I'm excited. Are we going to be taking this into a painting right after this?
Actually, this reference, I find it interesting enough to not really have to like come up with something crazy. So I don't think I'm going to do any kind of like crazy concept, especially since it's only 45 minutes. That's usually like where I only fleshed out my idea and I start doing like a little bit more like finishing it up. So I wouldn't really like do a creative one in 45 maybe.
I can't believe you've done this.
But it has like a very nice shape. The lighting is nice, and like the way you can see the dog, you can really feel its mass and shape. Like you could sculpt it basically from this picture. Like you have a lot of information, and that's what I really like in a reference. So yeah, I'm just going to like just paint it since it's interesting.
Yeah, the lighting is really solid on this drug. I love how strong the light is. You can easily make a very, very good, like, a realism-based, like, oil painting out of this. It looks fantastic.
Yeah, definitely.
I have painted, like, 4 or 5 pieces from the same photographer. He's really good. I should link him in my Discord. He's fantastic.
Yeah, it's a very good photo.
Hey,
Because,
so...
you know, sometimes it can be like a very beautiful photo, but as a reference, it does not work.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like that's something that people don't talk about enough, is that you can have a really good photograph, but it doesn't necessarily translate into a great painting. But yeah, this one I think is both, which is fantastic. So it's gonna block out those big forms. I'm gonna have to
might add, like, to the same, I would even add that sometimes a very good photograph does the opposite of what you want to do as an artist, like while painting. So it makes your life extremely hard if you just try to copy it. And I mean, it's like it's not meant to be any kind of like a painterly value. Its value lays in the fact that it is photography.
Yeah. Pam says she did sub animals, chubby bunny Twitch things. I was there for that. That was crazy. There's a duet up. Who did you do the duet with? If you want, Overcooked and back to sub animals. My goodness, it's so much work. But I'm so happy. I'm so happy that you're with us, Pam. I'm so happy that you decided to do this Twitch thing. We met and you got me back into painting. And yeah, I mean my art thing is actually it's going really well right now. So maybe we can make something out of the art. Maybe we'll make a career out of it. And if so, then I have you to thank. So huge shoutouts to you.
So what do you like about this photo?
I'd like whenever I see that there's enough of a separation of light and dark, where the entire eye is completely gone on one side. I really want to paint that because first of all, I'm obsessed with those kind of paintings. Like Sargent does that so many times, where you see the difference between his left eye and right eye. It's like his left eye is so perfectly done, and his right eye is like barely anything is there at all. And I love that idea. For me, the idea because when I first started painting, all those years ago. I was so annoyed by the fact that I had to go and put every little detail every single time I painted, and I hated that. I hated painting like intricate detail. So when I came back to art, thanks to Pam, by the way, when I came back into it, I always thought about how I just despised detail when I came back, and I realized that wait a second, I like realistic art, and realistic art isn't about the detail at all. So I'm perfectly in my rights to just completely ignore it if I wanted to. And yeah, that's what I'm obsessed with. So put detail where it matters, and everything else just ignore. And paintings like this or photographs like this, where the eye is kind of obscured, it's a great opportunity to just say, you know what, I don't really want to paint that, and then you can get away with it because the lighting allows for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed that when you pick references, very often it is this kind of very contrasted lighting. And
Yeah.
I'm actually like a big fan of it myself, but I never really paid too much attention to it. So like it's very fun for me because I haven't really like specifically looked into this kind of light. I kind of just like experimented all across the board and like just very different kind of approaches.
Pam says, okay, I think I need to go pass out now. My social energy is at the bottom. Don't worry about it. You've done so much today. Definitely go get some rest. And guys, definitely follow Pam if you haven't already. One of my favorite
Are you
artists.
pausing?
I'm not pausing now, but
Oh, okay.
we
If
just
you
think.
do tell me, I'll stop you.
Yeah, we'll do. We just think about it, Pam. You know Pam, right, Anjavir?
I'm afraid not. I mean, I'm really new to Twitch per se, so
Well, you
not
should
very
follow her.
familiar. But sounds like someone great, so I'm gonna check it out.
Oh, definitely. She is the reason that I paint right now because I took a very long break from art in general, and I'm just not coming back into it. Right, it's been a full year, and about a year ago, almost on the day, I don't know when my Twitch anniversary is, but it was like sometime last month. And I at about 3 a.m. in the morning, I was having my usual like rough ass day, and then at maybe 3 a.m. I stumbled on Twitch, and I was like, you know what? Let's not watch a random gaming stream. Let's watch Twitch art because I like art. I used to paint back in my day, and then I found this Anatomy Jam, which is a group study thing that James and Pam run. It's kind of similar to what we do here, but like a lot more in depth because they're very very established painters.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh Jesus Christ! People are studying together. People are painting together. What's all this about?
Yeah, this
And
sense of community is like it's amazing.
it's really fantastic. I mean, this is the kind of thing that I always wanted when I was growing up because I come from a place where art isn't really a thing. Like if you say art, that means you paint either traditionally, you don't work films or production or whatever. Because when I was growing up, that was never a thing in my town. So
Also, you were more familiar with like fine arts.
yeah, so I really did not like a lot of fine art. I did watercolors when I was younger, which isn't really fine, but I did acrylic and watercolor when I was very young, and that used to be like my definition of okay, this is what painting is. And I really didn't like it as much. I didn't have enough control in watercolor, and my acrylic never really looked very good. But I love draftsmanship. I love paint. I love drawing a lot, so that's what I did most of my
Yeah.
time. But then, I took my long break after getting into college, and then coming back into it. So it's pretty fantastic because it's a very important thing to me. I realize it's a hugely important thing for like my mental health and my physical, like my whole perception of myself. It's so important. Painting and creating stuff because it's something that I derive a lot of self-worth from. I think a lot of artists do. Like, do you guys have that issue when you go to bed at the night? Do you feel like, oh, Jesus Christ, I could have painted so much more, I could have done this, I could have done that, I have this much left to do?
Can you repeat that? It's kind of cutting off.
Hold on, let's change the server.
No, I think it's not the server. It might be the noise cancellation.
Oh, let me fix that then.
Yeah. Like you have to make it so it does not cancel out any noise.
We can do it this way. Okay,
I'll just wait.
That might work. That should be better.
Oh, hello, Jackson Joker. You're
Jackson?
doing well.
Okay, we can resume the timer. We are 7 minutes into the study.
Yeah.
The entire objective right now, guys, is just we're trying to get those majority forms in there, the majority lighting. As it turns out, it doesn't really matter when you do a painting. It doesn't really matter all that much where the detail goes towards the end of it, because if you don't have that solid basis of value and structure underneath everything, it doesn't really matter what you do. The painting's not going to hold.
Yeah, that's, you know, like that's one of those things that you either are super smart and take that advice very, very early on and like actually listen to it, or you do the mistake enough times where you go like, oh shit, yeah, everyone was right. I need to stop focusing on the details at the beginning.
But it's easy to do so, right? Because if you don't like have solid like artistic foundations, like you think that the beauty of everything is in the details, right? Because that's how you look at it from an outsider's perspective. When you look at nature, for example, like, do you ever say, I like the vague notion of the forest, or do you say you like the flowers, you like the trees? Like, you don't ever talk about the vagueness, but the vagueness is what gives the detail its beauty.
Not just that, it's also, for example, at least for me personally, I do like working on the details. I've always been a very details-oriented person. And whenever like we went for a plein air painting or something like that, I would rather paint like specific flowers in close-up rather than the landscape itself. So it's like it's a little bit of my own personal taste. That's why I was like stuck on details for a bit too long. I mean, I was aware of like the importance of the whole image because I do have some art training, but like still I would kind of wander off too far into focusing on things that don't actually matter.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think like doing like these kind of quick sketches, and also when you're forced to come up with ideas quickly, you don't have a lot of time. It's like the more pressure you are under, the quicker you start going like, okay, I cannot afford to spend time on things that are not important because I will have nothing to show, and I have to get things done. So like there's like also like many ways of kind of getting over this bad habit.
Yeah, I think painting for time is a great thing because it really, like you said, it forces you to prioritize, because if you don't prioritize, at the end of the time limit, you're not going to have anything to show for it.
Yes.
Vital.
But at the same time, I think it is important to not miss the like do not skip on actually finishing a painting up. And
Such a
I'm sorry,
cat.
my cat. Yeah, that's my cat. She likes to announce very loudly that she is back home. Right, what was I saying? Oh yeah, it is important, I think, not to completely neglect the like painting details eventually. Like actually finishing. What I mean is finishing a painting. Because there's just so much information that you learn by actually sitting down and spending those hours rendering and thinking about the smaller things. Since then, when you come back to the quick painting again, you are aware of all the things you are planning to eventually put into that image. So I can, let's say, just put a couple lines in the quick painting, but I know that there's going to be a certain texture there, or like, what am I gonna say with that part? And like, if you never finish a painting, then you can end up with like kind of limiting yourself in a different way. So like, both are important.
Yeah, can agree with that. But definitely it's more often the time that people have no idea how to start a painting as opposed to finish it, I feel like. Because I think everybody that's painted ever has these like 16, 17, 20-hour pieces, but not everybody has like 20-minute studies under their belt.
Yes, yes, definitely. Another thing, like you can spend 20 hours, right, but end up with barely anything on the page.
Yeah, true enough. No direction.
Yeah, if there's no direction, if there's no idea, or you just simply don't know what the hell you're doing and you're not looking anything up.
What is that?
Oh, I got something. Oh, someone's following.
Go follow engineer.
What does it show? Where does it? I got the sound notification, but oh, where's my thing?
Should I pause?
Yeah, just a second.
Yeah, no problem.
Because I downloaded a different. I downloaded Streamlabs, so it's like a slightly different. Oh, here it is. Bata Talk. No, that's old. Chesros and Y1 Tal DPM.
That's Vital and Shiraz.
Okay.
Shiraz is
And people, thank you all for the follows. I really appreciate it.
Shiraz is a creative staple. She's an artist, and she does makers and crafting as well, along with a few gaming streams, and she does
Nice.
these crazy cosplays. I really like painting cosplayers. Can I restart?
Yeah.
What are your favorite things to paint?
Come again?
What are your favorite things to paint?
Favorite things to paint. It's a bit of a hard question because I'm a little bit all over the place.
What
But
are
I
some of your
definitely-
favorite things?
Yeah, like I would say I would give preference to characters and actually Polly, thank you for follow as well. Yeah, it's mostly people and creatures. I don't know. Like I'm not a big fan on landscapes, but I think that's mostly because I just haven't done it enough to where I would start loving it.
The weird
Like
thing about
I'm not good enough at landscapes to really enjoy them, which is why I'm trying to learn a bit more on landscapes too.
yeah, no kidding. Like the people that actually paint a bunch of landscapes these days that I meet, it's like either you always painted landscapes your entire life and you just love everything about it, or you've never painted it and you hate it. Like there's only two kinds of people. There's nothing in between. Nobody says, you know, I like painting landscapes and I like painting characters.
No, I think there are enough people, but that requires to actually put the time and effort to reach a certain skill level in both, to where you can actually say a very objective preference, like, yeah, I have actually tried both, I have learned both, but my preference lies in that and that. So I am biased because I seriously haven't put enough time and effort to learn landscapes.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Like people say that they prefer one thing over the other thing, but really what they're saying is I've tried one thing and I haven't tried the other thing and I hate the other thing, so therefore I like this one thing. It's really you haven't explored the options.
I haven't like I'm still bad at that other thing. That's why I hate it, like that kind of thing.
Guilty. I have been there. I'm gonna put in some.
You out?
Maybe. I'm gonna put in some lost edges here because I really want to put in some lost edges in this dog.
I just have been checking out your art station and I really like your work. Thank you very much.
And you're a killer.
I was told not to listen to you, by the way.
Wait, who told you this?
I'm not a snitch.
Well, why am I not in your chat? What am I doing? Hold on. Pause. Pause.
I'm no snitch.
It was Abs, wasn't it? Just Abs says, Angie to me is what Canvas is to Bonnie. Wait, does that mean that you love her? What are you talking about?
Sorry, man. Already married.
She's
But
taken
it's
on Abs.
appreciated.
Ross, thanks for stopping by. Jesus Christ, how much have you gotten done already? What the fuck are you doing? You're making me look bad.
Well, I don't know.
Don't worry about it. Let's resume.
Okay.
So much. I love it though. I'm such a big fan of this.
I'm a fan of these studies.
Or is JJ...
I'm guilty. I'm really guilty of the fact that I have not been doing this for years. Because I just found it so lonely and boring to do it, so I never did studies like that. I mean, I did sometimes when I really had to, but it was not like a daily thing.
Listen, you're more than welcome. I'm just saying that once you get a job at Disney or Pixar or DreamWorks, just put in a word for your boy Indiana Broad, okay? Just say, listen,
sure,
there's this Indian guy, and I did the studies with him, so just give him, just let him serve me coffee or something. Just give him a side job, you know, janitorial duties.
I'll keep that in mind, sure.
Yeah,
If I actually land a job like that, no problem.
That's all I want, really. I'm fine. I'm fine saying. I just want to say that I worked at DreamWorks. I don't care if I just like hustle copies and serve people coffee. I don't mind that. That's fine.
Yeah, that's how I feel about working at CD Projekt Red. It's like I don't know, I'll clean your tables. Just let me in.
That must be such a great company to work for, CD Projekt.
Yeah, I mean, they're just so passionate about their games, and like they're like the respect that they have to their audience is amazing. And yeah, I've met actually some of them on. There's this event called Promised Land. It hasn't been going. It's not going to be out this year because we're working too hard on.
Cyberpunk, right?
Yes, on Cyberpunk. But I was there a couple of years ago, and it was just like a collection of amazing artists, just absolutely amazing. And everyone was sharing experiences. There were like talks and workshops, and it was so inspirational. Like it was absolutely amazing. So it just like confirmed my love for the company and like for their products and for the people, like even more so.
You're gonna do it, Anjavir. You're gonna be a CD Projekt Red artist. I just know it.
That would be so awesome, though. I mean, it's a long trip, right? Because it's a thought like like I see it as at a different level. It's just crazy.
Polly says, I remember a Bob Ross episode doing a portrait. He said one of his biggest.
Chess.
Oh, what?
Oh, just had to go. So.
Oh yeah, we said we said goodbye to Chase. She's awesome, by the way.
Yeah, I'll check her out.
So one of his greatest influences was in landscapes, and that's where he should stay with. Really? Okay. That's interesting.
Oh, fuck. I can't
what
believe
now?
you've done this.
Alex, thanks for the follow, man. I gotta put these eyes in. I'm so much of a victim of never putting the eyes in soon enough in my paintings.
I mean, you just mark the blob, and then like go back to it later. Generally, how it goes.
Well, I have my separation in quite well. Just gotta rearrange my values. How much are you sampling off your canvas while you work?
Of my own cabins?
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah, I would assume so, because your reuse is fantastic. I gotta do more reuse. I keep forgetting about it. In my first or second painting of the day, just never remember anything. And I should be warmed up.
Honestly, like I barely take new colors. I usually resample and just use the same color over and over.
I think that's a good idea, yeah.
I don't know, like it's a bit of a two-edged sword because you can end up doing a little bit too much, like end up with too few colors in your canvas. So I try to, at least at the beginning, I try to like change my colors. But there's also a nifty trick where you just like you sample your color, but then you change it a little bit. I use the sliders, and I just like get the saturation that I want, or like slightly different hue, but of that same color. So like you get a pretty decent look overall.
Right. So the idea is that you maintain the value because of the sample, but the hue variation is done so you have variety. Is that the idea?
Yes.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. I do that. I do it sometimes. I should do that more, honestly.
But like by now, to me, it's a habit. Like I'm constantly clicking on Alt and I'm picking the color from my canvas.
I've just recently started using things like level shifts and color balance and stuff like that just to fix paintings. And yeah, I've refused to use that for like a year, and now it's starting to be quite useful. I do like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's very important. I think in your case that you did a smart thing by not like relying on it too much early on. Because the more accurate you are from the very beginning, the better it is. Like the fewer things you have to change later. So it is a very good thing that you can like work without relying on these tricks.
Yeah, because ultimately the goal is to be able to straight paint, right? Because if you can straight paint it, you save a bunch of time.
Yeah, but knowing how to quickly fix something is also.
Oh yeah.
So like as always, there's like a balance.
This is a fun little dog. I like him a lot.
Yeah, it's a very great ref. I really like it.
So this same photographer took a bunch of pictures of greyhounds, and that's what I painted before, a very long time ago, like almost 6 to 7 months
Yeah.
ago.
Give me a second. Jackson's asking, are you using a Wacom art pen? Yes, I am. But the tilt, I think my old one had too, which is just like a normal. My Wacom tablet is very old. It's the Wacom Intuos 5. It's kind of scratched up and everything. But these are. This is not really so much of art pens thing that I can tilt and draw, but I'm using. It's actually official Photoshop's brushes. It's called Dry Media. You can just download it from Photoshop page if you have official Photoshop. And they just follow like the direction that you're drawing in. Okay, you were saying, James? Sorry.
Oh, I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Have you seen Jackson's work, by the way? What a killer that dude is.
I mean, I've seen the stud piece, I think he did with us.
He's really good. I'm a big fan of him. And I don't think you've been painting that long, have you, Jackson? I'm so happy to have you guys in the community. Because I need people to keep me on my toes. Because as humble as I try to be, everybody's complacent. So I want to fall into that complacency trap.
Yeah, it's very like just seeing the beginners, how quickly they are improving. It's like it really
That's scary.
puts a fire on your tail, doesn't it?
Like I took 7 years to learn what you learned in like 7 days. Like, okay, thank you so much.
Yeah. I think one of my mistakes was actually the fact that I didn't really focus for a very long time, right? I've been in art for really long, like many years, but I never really had a clear goal, what I wanted to do, and like there were periods of time where I was just like just doing some commissions and not really like learning anything new per se. I mean, I was always learning, right? But not at the speed that I could have. So I feel like even though I have quite a few years on my tab, like a lot of them were actually spent wasted because I didn't have a motivation, I didn't have a clear goal in my mind, and I didn't have the means. Because like also interestingly, at one point, it was actually last summer, I just hit a complete like I know art crisis. So I just didn't know what to do anymore. Like it's like I was at this odd level of like sort of professional but not really, and I just didn't know where to go from that anymore. So my mom actually advised me very smartly. She said like, well, you need a teacher. I was like, oh, okay. Like, which was a little odd to me at first because I mean, it's like I had a bunch of teachers, right, in art school and whatnot, but it wasn't the same because I wanted to get into entertainment. So that's where I got like a mentorship, and that just like flipped my life around. And I feel like ever since then I had far more focus and goal-oriented painting. So that helped a lot.
Domo, good night, man. Thanks so much for stopping by. Who did you get the mentorship from?
That was Anthony Jones.
Oh, it was AJ's mentorship? No kidding.
Yeah, it was amazing. I keep praising it everywhere.
That's good to hear as well because I've had a couple of people that have taken AJ's mentorship, and one of them said it was a really bad experience. But I think they were just a very amateur painter when they came into it, so not much they could really do.
Really, because I would say like if you work hard and you actually try and listen to what he's telling you, you are going to increase just like immensely. Like the skill set just becomes crazy good. Like as long as you listen to what he's saying. If you kind of like ignore the advice, then I don't really know what's the point of taking a mentorship in the first place.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I feel like when anybody takes a course, there's always that one kid or one person in the classroom that doesn't put the effort into. And it doesn't matter like what you do. If you study art by yourself, you go to art school or whatever. If you don't put that work in, there's no point. I mean, you're not gonna get anything from it.
Yeah. And I mean, I at least personally, I took it very seriously. I sometimes even did more work than was given as a like homework. So I feel like I really got the most I could get at that time from that mentorship.
How long ago was that?
That was last October.
Very cool. It's like when I started painting again. It's so cool.
Yeah.
DNA has a gun, man. Cheater. You said chedater. Polly says that kind of thing happens when you share your experience. I mean, I guess, but it's just a fun thing. And plus, I don't have any hang-ups. I feel like I don't have any regrets of like, oh, I could have learned this so much earlier. Like when you learn something, you learn something, and then that's just it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, if I look back to like, I'm saying now that like, oh, I could have learned so much more. Well, theoretically I could have, but I know myself at that time was in the spot where it was how it was. So it's like I'm not feeling bad about it or anything like that.
Exactly, yeah.
Like I'm just more happy that I managed to overcome it and that I do have the motivation and purpose now, because I feel like nowadays I actually feel very motivated, and I work a lot, and that's going to get me somewhere eventually. So
Hell yeah. That's a whole focus forward as opposed to focus like behind you kind of mentality.
Yeah,
Which is
yeah.
good.
kind of like, looking at the glass half full rather than half empty.
Yeah.
Like I rather have realized that like now rather than even later. So it's like, oh, well, I'm good, I'm fine.
Also, Abs, you have a tablet, so you can no longer call anybody a cheater.
Yep, that's true.
You have forgoed your rights, sir.
He is a cheater too now. One of us. One of us.
See, an Angiver said that, Abs. How do you feel about that?
As if my word means something more.
Now, Abs is just used to taking abuse from me, but you know, from a stranger, I mean, there's so much, it hits him so much harder. And from Angevir art to the Angevir art, my goodness, you just destroyed that man's whole career.
He says it does. Oh.
Dude, all things considered, Abs is a sick artist, man. He's so fucking good. Like his watercolor work is really high level.
Yeah.
Like it's almost easy to almost like overlook, I guess, because he's such a troll. But like legitimately, like such a high level of watercolor. It's so cool.
Nothing wrong with being a bit of a troll. I mean, I'm okay with that. All in good spirit.
Let the record show I'm not okay with that. Please be civil in my chat. Only I'm allowed to troll. No, but I really like the community. Like the community that I have. I don't want to say this like stupid words like I've built this community, but the people that have like gravitated towards the stream, I'm just so happy that it's because I've modded for a good number of streams. I've been around Twitch for a pretty long time without streaming, and I've seen some horrible sides of Twitch that people are just trapped in. They have these communities that they're just completely victim to, wherein they come on stream and they just get harassed basically all day, but they have to put up with it because that's basically their stream and there's nothing else they have.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like, you can get tied down if this is like your main source of, like, if it's your job basically, and you don't really like it. It's a lot of risk to actually like change things very drastically.
Yeah.
So you can't really do it like that easily anymore. But if you only like stream for yourself, I feel like it's like.
That's what I always say when people come to me for advice for streaming. I say just do something that you enjoy doing. Don't try and cater the stream to anybody, otherwise you're just going to be unhappy yourself.
Yeah. What do you plan on painting today, by the way, as your like main thing?
I don't know. I might just go back to sleep. I'm so tired.
Okay.
I woke up, I finished a little bit more of my Robot Man piece, and I have to do, oh Jesus, I need to do a grand total of almost 52 silhouettes this week, and a bunch of ground plane drawings, so I might just do that, but I feel so tired, I might just sleep and then wake up and do that later.
Wait, you want to do 52 silhouettes in 1 week?
Yeah.
That's for the concept?
It's more of a volume exercise than anything else.
I would rather suggest do a 20, but actually think about them.
That's perfectly fair, but I've already done that sort of like mindfulness thing, but I just want to pump out the volume right now. Just gonna throw a bunch in there.
Sure. I mean, it has some value in itself. But I know that like sometimes just doing numbers like without having a good idea and like understanding, it might actually be counterproductive.
Maybe, but I very much have such a respect for just doing things quickly right now. So spending like what 10 minutes per silhouette, I think is like more than sufficient right now for my personal goals, because
Yeah, I mean,
my
of course,
objective
if
with
you
my objective with the portfolio is not to have the best designs in the world, but to just have things that are well presented in the portfolio, and to have like some degree of like skill in terms of application. But the ideas themselves, I don't really care about. So the actual paintings, I'll spend weeks on. But for the silhouettes, I don't really care. It is what it is.
Yeah, but I mean, don't forget that the silhouette is your main idea. Like, this is what you're going to build everything else on top. So if your silhouette, like if you just do 50 silhouettes without actually thinking properly about them, you might end up with a lot of similar stuff or stuff that won't really make sense when you start to get into it. And then you're going to hit like a bit of a brick wall. Like, what the hell am I gonna do with this? It's like it's not really getting anywhere, right? So like just be careful. I'm not saying that you can't do it or that it's like it's not useful or anything, far from it, but just like to be careful of that.
I should point out that these are not for the same thing either. Like I got 18 per character. Well, it's gonna be like 25 per character, and a bunch for some vehicles, a bunch for some mounts, some environments. So it's gonna be mixed
Yeah.
up in between.
Well, I'm very curious to see how it comes out.
It's gonna be terrible.
Might
Because
be
you
terrible
said
at
it's gonna be
first,
terrible.
But eventually,
and
eventually. it's
There
not
goes my
gonna be terrible.
confidence. You just ruined me. See, I was gonna make The Witcher 5, and you just that possibility is just gone for my future right now because of you.
Damn it! I feel awful now. I knew it. I am an evil person.
How do you feel about that Witcher series that's coming out?
Very mixed feelings. I will watch it because I just want to see. But I mean, there's a few things that I'm not entirely a big fan of. For example, the like blown up Superman Geralt.
Oh, he's
the-
so just.
Yeah, like that kind of bod is like a little bit,
Just perfect, right?
sure, if you want to call it that.
Just absolutely, I can eat a whole bowl of sushi off him.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, especially in these days when it's all about like
Body positivity, right?
realistic, yeah, body positivity and like when there was the whole drama with Tifa from Final Fantasy. It's like, I mean, realism is fun, exaggeration is fun, but then if you're going to like forbid one but then go totally crazy way with the other, so it's like, well, I mean, make up your minds, people. What's going on here?
Jackson says, do you and Anjavir ever felt like not committing on a piece that could take several hours because you know it's not going to look as good as you want? And then you're stuck in this limbo because you don't spend the time on painting? And the cycle goes on and on? Yeah, I mean, getting trapped by an idea is definitely a thing. And the whole idea behind kind of solving that, I feel like personally, is just the idea of just not getting attached to your paintings too much. Just to kind of just kill your kids, basically. So if your painting is you just get detached from your overall ideas, because most of the time when it comes to painting things that you don't think are not as confident with, there is some notion of going forward with it, but that doesn't come from you. It's, for example, if I was doing a commission for somebody and they said, okay, well, I really like this idea and I didn't like it, then I just bite the bullet and paint it. But if it's my own personal idea and I'm not feeling it, well, my motivation in the piece is a strong indicator of how well the piece is going to go, because if I don't like the piece, it's going to end up like a shitty piece half the time. So I would just kill it right there and restart the idea. And it's just being flexible in that idea, just being flexible in the notion of starting, restarting, changing, just being flexible, as Charlie calls it, is a very strong idea as an artist in general. So definitely something that I would encourage. So yeah, just if you feel attached on something, I feel that you don't feel like you have to commit to anything that you don't like, because if it's your personal art, then you have the liberty of changing stuff. How do you feel about that question, Andrew?
I would say that's part of artist's lifestyle, to be like, oh shit, this sucks. At least in my case, it is. There's two ways of dealing with it. One is just like James said, you kill the idea and you just start over. The other one is, if you know that you can't really, like, you don't like it, you know it's not going to be amazing, but that is more because you have too high standards for yourself. In that case, I would say still finish the piece. Grit your teeth and finish the piece. Especially if you plan on becoming a professional, because life as a professional, you like no matter how much you hate it, you have to do it. There's like you can like you have to learn how to make it fun for yourself. If you don't know how to do that, then you're going to suffer as an artist. But just by gritting your teeth and finishing a piece, you might find out that, okay, this actually wasn't as bad, and I can fix the mistakes that I made. And I still learn a lot from it just because I finished it. And that's very important. Obviously, when you become confident in your skill and just much more like skilled in general, then in that case, when you see that it's just not working, you just ditch the idea immediately, because you can make a better one, and there's no time, no need, like it's a waste of time to actually try and fix it. So it's like, again, it depends on the situation, and it depends on the like what you're trying to get from it.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think that's a great point to bring up, the idea of if you're being a professional, you should be able to grit your teeth, and I totally agree with that. It's 100% a skill you need to learn, because, I mean, I think being an artist means that you like drawing in general, but there are going to be some things that you hate drawing. Like, it shouldn't always be the case that you hate everything that you do, in which case, find a new profession. But with all things, you're not going to like something. Like, everybody likes working out and getting buff, but nobody likes leg day, that kind of thing. So you're going to have to grit your teeth at some point or the other, otherwise... I mean, if you're going to be a professional, of course.
And you would be surprised, actually, how many times... Well, I'll just speak from personal experience, right? Like, how many times I have really hated the piece, but I just, like, got myself together and went through with it. And I ended up actually enjoying it. And I ended up making something that I could showcase and, like, without feeling ashamed of myself. So it's like you kind of have to spot that reason why you hate that piece as well. Like, why is it not working? Is it the composition? Is it the color? Is it the light? Is it the subject? There's so many reasons why a piece might be working or not working. So you have to be mindful of that and kind of try to spot that reason and then try to fix it.
Yeah. Shit is a gun. I feel like I'm missing some context. We're talking about the Witcher series, Abs. Witcher is a game featuring, what's the easiest way of putting this? Crazy, spooky, spelled swordsman people that go around killing monsters and also kill people sometimes, but not really. That's the Witcher in a nutshell. Also, he bangs everything.
Yes.
And that's why Angevir likes it.
I'm not gonna argue with you.
And that's why Henry Cavill being super buff is exactly what I need.
No, I will not agree with that. That is too buff. That is not attractive.
What is too buff, Angevir? What is too buff? What does that even mean?
Bodybuilder, like literal
Exactly.
bodybuilders,
Hell,
when they're on
yes.
stage, that is too much.
Well, he's on stage. He's on a play, right? He's in a movie show.
Okay, sure. You actually love it, so.
Absolutely, I do.
we just don't have the same kind of taste, which is totally fine.
You just don't understand men like I do, Angevira, right? But
Yeah, I guess I don't.
who knows a man better than another man? Thank you for the follow. Is that apple lettuce? I think that is, or apple lettuce, depending on how you want me to say that. God bless. How has streaming been for you, by the way? I know that you really enjoy it because of the accountability stuff, and you get to treat. So my favorite thing about stream is that I get to treat it like a rubber duck. Do you know what rubber duck debugging is in programming?
No, I'm not sure.
It's basically where you have like a little rubber duck on your table, and you just tell the duck, this part of the program does this part of the program does this. It's a way of vocalizing. So therefore you think about exactly what it is you're doing, and you have that completely like out there, so you can objectively say, wait a second, I don't really believe that, why am I doing that? So it's a way of like holding yourself accountable when it's just you painting, and I think you really enjoy that part about streaming, don't you?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's kind of like amusing because like there's so many things that I am aware of, and I know how to like make changes for the better, which require a little bit of effort. And yeah, like when I'm on my own, I would sometimes just kind of like sneak away and go like, yeah, it's fine, you know. But when I kind of like stated on voice that like this is a mistake, I can't really back out on that anymore. It's like I already said it's bad. It's like I can't just leave it. I have to fix it.
It's like your
So-
backseat driving from the front seat.
Yes, exactly. Which is great. I love that.
Applause again. Overskates ni hao, my friend. Xpoly says, when you see a picture and think there's no way that guy's head is on that body, that's enough. I mean, listen, I hang around a different crowd. Let me say, Henry Cavill's beautiful head fits beautifully on his large shoulders. And it would fit better between... no, man, that joke can't be made on Twitch.
You might not have said it, but we all know what you were thinking.
You know. Plausible deniability, I have no idea.
Yes.
So you talk to a duck in your spare time? You don't, Abs, you weirdo? What do you do in your spare time? Backflips?
I lost my brush.
Have you checked where you last put it?
I put it somewhere in the brush folder.
So you use Photoshop, right, Andrew?
Yeah.
I have downloaded Photoshop, so I require you to teach me everything that you know, so I can be a good artist like you. Go.
Oh boy.
What is the most important thing that you're like, oh, I can't believe I didn't know this about Photoshop that you ever found? So then I cannot have that moment.
I think maybe the mask tool, where you click Shift Q and then you kind of like paint on a spot, and you can get like gradient and whatever. And then you you remove it, you get a selection, and the selection will have the same gradient that you painted. So you can like select an area with like a very smooth, very smoothly. Like if you want to just like add a little bit of saturation like on a part of a face or something. It's really great for that. So I think that's like one of those things that I really do like.
Jack Haas asks, it's like Jackass, I get it. On a scale from 1 to 10, how weird is this question? Yes. Oversketch says, I think he looks like a handsome Squidward, and I don't know how I feel about that. You think I look like a handsome Squidward? You're right.
Well, we've never seen you. You might be.
Well, for the small price of a tier 3 sub, you can see you can see all of me.
Selling yourself already, oh my.
Listen, when you got some merchandise to sell, you sell it, alright? The Witcher guy? Listen, we can just talk about me looking like handsome Squidward. That's a really good boy aesthetic. That's exactly what Angevir said. When I sent her the picture before stream, she was like, those are some good boys. And
Yeah,
you know
best
what?
boys.
You know what? You're right. You're absolutely right. We have 2 minutes, by the way.
Okay.
And you're already done. She's working on the next painting. What about your Anthony Jones training? Once, if you feel like you're done, then you should stop painting and give me time to catch up.
Oh, well, how about you take that too?
No, because I haven't been tutored by Anthony Jones. I was tutored in the streets, Angevir. I grew up being lectured by shamans
Thug
and
life.
witch folks.
Thug life.
Wish I joined in earlier? We might do another one if you're interested, Angevir.
I guess we could. But in that case, I want to do actually something a bit more relevant to what I'm going to paint today.
Okay, so then you get to pick. Just take me along on your adventure.
I found a very cool a portrait,
Cool.
which had like very beautiful like pinkish hues in it, and like soft light. But maybe something else. Because I actually like what I plan to paint today is I called it fashionable fantasy. I'm going to take street fashion, like modern street fashion, and actually revamp that into like fantasy characters.
I'm down with that. Let's do one of those.
That's going to be like original work. You okay with that?
Original work? Yeah, of course. I'm an original person, aren't I?
Well, yeah.
And so all he's saying by original work is that it's okay, Indian. You know, your work's gonna suck, but you okay with that? Yeah, I guess I am, Angevir. Thanks for asking.
That's not what I meant.
You okay with making an embarrassment of yourself? Yeah, you know what? I think I've had too many good streams in a row. Let's have a really trashy
You know,
one.
this is kind of amusing because I don't even like you kind of roast yourself. I haven't even said anything, but you do it very professionally.
Oh yeah, of course. Gotta do it as a streamer. That fantasy sounds really cool. Yeah, we might do it, man. When are you gonna post a selfie, James? There's a selfie of me from the neck down on one of the Discords. I'm not gonna tell you which one, but you're a member of that Discord.
Of neck down, okay.
Yeah, it's like a workout thing. Us guys, you know, us Henry Cavills of the world, we do that sometimes.
Yes, of course. But yeah, I was actually looking up at a whole bunch of references for like street fashion, and also like looking up into some references for like historical clothing. So I'm actually like I'm quite excited about it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and yeah, it's also going to be pretty tricky because it's going to be this odd balance of new and old. But like this is a kind of concepting stuff that I really enjoy. It's like taking from reality and making like just giving it a different like turn or twist or story.
Well, new and old is my specialty, you see, because I have the mind of a youngster and the broken body of an elderly man.
I don't know how that helps.
It's you know it's like method acting, you know. Like if you want to play Abraham Lincoln, you kind of put a hat on, you have a beard on, and you don't shower. So same way.
Okay.
Like the logic
you
holds.
have
I
it,
feel
you
like.
have it in your hat then.
I definitely don't shower, so we're good. Also, I think our time went expired a while ago.
Oh, that's fine because I was kind of moseying around, like not really sure what I'm doing anymore.
What kind of tablet do you use? If it's Cintiq Pro, do you know if it's possible to turn off the one-finger touch function? I'm sick of accidentally drawing when rotating and zooming. You can turn it off. You need to download the drivers and do it via the menu that shows up on the Cintiq. But I don't use a Cintiq myself. I use a Huion Canvas Pro 20, which is a fantastic tablet.
Yeah, I can't suggest anything with that either because I don't have a Cintiq and I actually never plan on having a.
But Angevir, Cintiqs are for the professionals, and you're a professional.
A Cintiq is more for those who are not afraid of back pains.
Not afraid of back pains?
Yeah,
What if you get one of
like,
those fancy ass stands?
Yeah, but you're still kind of like leaning over and then your arm is like up in the air.
Oh yeah.
Like it's just like either your shoulder and hand is getting tired or your back is getting tired, and I actually enjoy looking straight ahead on the screen and drawing on a flat surface under. Like I'm actually like very fond of working like that, so I don't think I'm ever gonna change.
Well, I'm done with my good boy study. Let's post to the Discord, and then we can do whatever scary thing that you want to do.
The scary thing.
The
Okay.
scary thing. I'm cropping real quick. You did a really good job.
Yeah, thank you. I actually haven't seen yours yet.
Oh, of course you haven't.
Oh, it's so fluffy. I love how the dark and the air is like just like fading out in your picture.
Yeah, it's like ugh. It's like a true sign of an artist that has lost all his courage in painting. But yeah, I love putting lost
Really
edges.
nice. You did a very good job.
Thank you. Okay, let's name this Good Boy 1 and we'll put him on the Discord. If you guys did do the study along with us, this is an encouraged group study stream. It usually is. I usually stream maybe 4, 5, 7, 8 hours from now every single day, but I'm doing a
Not today.
special morning stream because Angie was like, hey, do you wanna? And before she even completed her sentence, I said yes. I said yes, I do want a dual stream. And here we are. So I'm gonna be uploading mine to the Discord. She is going to do the same. And also, if you guys do the study at any point, you can find the references on my Discord, and you can also find the completed studies on the Discord. So join that Discord. We keep saying the word Discord. I'll say it more unless you join. So go ahead and do that. Such a good
I
job.
did an ugly crop. Oh no.
I did an ugly crop.
Yeah, that happens often.
The whole presentation side of art is like, it's like you know how to cook, but you don't know how to plate. Like I've been.
Oh yeah, I totally that's a thing. Like that's a serious thing. Or you do know how to play it, but you just can't be arts because you're only interested in cooking.
Yeah. Hey, do you want to do a study of this guy? Can this be your study? Can we do this one?
Wait. What? What? Study of what?
It's on my stream.
Let's see. I don't see anything.
There might be a delay.
I just see you looking at the color triangle.
Let's quickly get
Oh,
everything.
Jubes28, thank you for the follow.
James 28?
Jubes.
Jubes, right. She must be way delayed, she might be, yeah. Hey, look!
Oh, now I see it. Oh my god, that's what. Yes, yes, and this is my I'm not joking. These kind of paintings is my favorite thing.
Oh, they're so good.
I just absolutely love them. Like it just cracks me up every time.
That's more human than most of the people that I draw.
they're just so special. I mean, what can I say?
What about us people that can only have a mouse and can't afford a tablet? Well, tablets aren't that expensive these days. You can get a really good one for like 70, 80 bucks. And if you can't spend that much, then you can technically draw with a mouse, but I was just drawing like a vector style with the selection tool. But you can still make art. And otherwise, even cheaper than that is just buy a sketchbook and buy a pencil for like 10 bucks and then do it that
Just
way.
as the saying, that painting hurts me. No, it refreshes my soul. It's something else. It's great.
Yeah.
Also, on the drawing with a tablet, yeah, the tablets are not really that expensive. Like even the cheapest tablet is going to give you much better life and drawing quality than a mouse will. Like I'm actually really quite strong against drawing with a mouse if you want to paint. If you want to like make vector art and stuff, you can do it with a mouse. But like if you actually want the skill of drawing and painting, you need that brush experience, because even if you start getting pretty good with a mouse, eventually you'll shift to a pen and then you'll almost have to start from zero. I mean, some stuff like composition and color will stay, but those like the muscle memory and the controlling the brush, that's just yeah. So you can really find like either a used one or like I'm pretty sure you can find one for very cheap. I'm actually going to be giving away my tablet when I get a new one.
Which
Just
one are you
like-
getting?
I just want to get a new Intuos,
Cool.
a small one, because mine is really old. Like it's still working. It's not like dead, but it's very it's a veteran.
Alright, let's review stuff that's submitted to the Discord. We got my boy Paulie in here, who is painting at 5 AM for us. Great job, Paulie, holy shit. Good stuff. I like the separation. Are you, okay, can you get on my Discord, Angela?
On Discord?
Yeah, in the study post. You are going to help. Actually, you're going to review this. This is going to be Angevir's review, so I'm just going to stay silent. Okay,
Oh
go.
wow.
Go.
Okay. So I'm doing the review.
Yeah, go.
Sweet. Okay, I'm dragging this in here. Okay, so we have this good boy by Polly. I do like the colors, and I like how you focused on making a singular shape out of a shadow here.
Yeah.
I would say the main problem is you have to think a little bit more about the shape, not just the like how does the silhouette of a shadow look like, but the shape of a dog, like the snout, the head, the muscles here, like where's the light catching, like where's the brightest, where are the edges? Because like if you just added a little bit of light over here on the snout, just a little bit on the head, you would immediately feel even more of a shape, right? And also the same like goes for this area. Like it's quite clear that you don't exactly understand what is going on here. So it would be good to like try and simplify the shapes in your mind. Like okay, that looks like something like the head is an orb, and the snout is like what you call it, like help me, James. What's the shape called?
A cuboid, a tapering trapezoid. Just say something fancy so they don't know what you're talking about.
God, I sometimes forget very simple words. But anyway, like just think about the shapes itself. But this is a very good painting, and I just noticed that it's work in progress. So you're probably going to further like fix it up more. But like pay some attention to the actual shapes, the big shapes. But yes, it's really nice. I like how you like simplified where you could.
Also, shout out to this guy, Polly. He's the one that made my my emotes. So thanks for playing along with this.
Thank you for that bag emote. I'm a big fan.
It's so good.
It's amazing.
We got Hangware Art. I'm not sure who this is, but great work. Really good job. What you think about this painting, Angela?
Well, it's a decent attempt, right?
I think it's
But
an
you
attempt.
can also see that whoever this person was didn't really pay too much attention at the bottom part. It's a little bit, you know, it's a bit unclear, and I guess the colors could be even stronger. But I know this person in person, right? So
Alright.
she's having some trouble sometimes with making bright colors.
You know what you should do for that? You should just grab that dodge tool and then you look left, you look right. If nobody's looking, you put a little bit of that dodge tool on there. You just amp those colors up.
Yeah. I mean, I could, but I'm just gonna leave it like that because it's a good memo for myself later to actually like be braver about the colors.
Yeah. A great job, Angela. I think it's a fantastic study. A very, very strong direction of light. Big fan of that. Good strong shapes. I think we have very similar ideas of how we pick out our shapes, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
But hell yeah.
Yeah, yours is very good. I really like what you did with the air here, and
Yes,
the
ma'am.
other one actually looks very flowy. I feel like my mine was a bit too stiff. It just felt like it was hanging like that, like just like holding shape. Yours is actually look like it's floppy, which I really like.
Yeah.
I would say like maybe in your case like the eye is actually standing out the most to me. Like something's off. You just like it feels flat.
Yeah, it's a bit too much of a simplification, I think. The eye itself could use a bit of shadow. Like, for example, I'm missing the cast,
Yeah.
I'm missing the form. I'm gonna put a little
And
bit
there
of
would
that.
be a bit more of edge shadow on the brow, what would create that shape for like the eye to sit in.
Yeah,
Like
I
just,
totally
just
agree
like
with that.
over here, yeah.
On the very
But
top, right?
yeah, otherwise it's really nice.
Yeah,
Those ears, I can't get over the ears.
I'm criminally like responsible for not putting in enough work for my eyes. I actually tried to do a little bit of it towards the end, but then yeah, it's just a processing that I need to think about. I need to think about it much stronger because it's so important in drawing like this when you have just a singular eye in a beautiful pupper. Gotta put more time into that, or at least some more thought while doing it.
Okay, and we have Solmir. Also
Solmir.
really great. I think in your case maybe it's a bit too bold. Like it could use a little bit of softness somewhere. Like all of the edges are hard, like right? So everywhere, like I don't see a single edge that would be like proper soft. I think that would make the picture even more like whole if you were maybe a bit more aware of edges.
Yeah, I
But
think.
but yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say that I do like that the shapes are actually quite clear. Maybe like on the top of a head, that's a little bit like it flattens out because you have a dark line, and then you have lightness here. It kind of like it flattens out because of this contrast. But otherwise, it's like I really do like I can feel the shapes, so that's really good.
Yeah, I don't think you messed up your values too badly because your separation of light and dark is good. Like when you say you messed up your values, that means your hierarchy is poor, which means you see
No,
these.
that's not what I meant.
No, I'm talking about his comment in the chat. Yeah.
Oh, he said. Okay.
Yeah, so I don't think that at all that's an issue there because when you know your values are truly and well, like they're gone, is that you have darks when there shouldn't be darks, you have lights where there shouldn't be lights. The decision to choose the values might be a little bit off. Like the central value might be a little bit too dark, and maybe the values on this side might be dark. So remember that a dark in the dark region and a dark in the light region, they mean two different things. So the value that you might choose for the darkness in an area of dark might be a little bit different than the values you choose for a dark in an area of light because you don't need as much. So oftentimes the eye can be tricked a little bit, where you think, okay, well that's dark, and it might be equally dark somewhere else on the canvas. But what actually happens is that because there's so much light around the darkness within the light, it might artificially up that contrast visually, and you think, okay, that's super dark, but in reality it's just not as dark, but in a lighter context. So just keeping that in mind when you're painting your drawings, and think, okay, well this is a dark for the light area, but remember, if it's for the light area, I don't need to go as dark, and you kind of shift it to the next highest value basically. And that's how you get the dark there. So that's how I maintain my values all the time with my hierarchy. So yeah,
I think a good point to remember is that the darkest light will still be lighter than the lightest dark.
yeah.
And then that's how you get that transition if you want to like uh, show the shape of an object.
Yeah, I think that's done fairly okay in this drawing, right?
Yeah, this is like
I think
solid.
I think the separation is great. I think just the decision of certain values. The darks are where they need to be, but the darks themselves are chosen maybe a little bit too harshly in the area of the light. So those I just touch back on, and it'll look great. But
I would say even in that case, if the edges were less harsh, it might still work.
yeah, I think so. As a higher contrasted version of the
Yeah.
painting, I think so. Yeah, I think it's a great point. Great job, guys. Fantastic work.
Yeah, very well done. Okay, so what do we do now?
Now it's up to you to choose a reference. I'm just gonna clean up my doggy because I'm gonna make a cheap Instagram post. Farm those doggy likes.
Thank you, Canvas.
Thanks, Candace.
Okay, let's see. Find the ref, huh? Like my ref was actually like huge pages of Pinterest, so let me see if I can find something more usable for this kind of task.
Did you say scared of her now? You're scared of Angevir? Angevir's harmless. What are you talking about?
I don't bite.
Much.
Maybe.
Listen, as long as you don't look like,
You're welcome, Solmir.
as long as you don't look like Henry Cavill from The Witcher, you and Angevir are cool, right? If you're too buff, then Angevir's gonna come knocking at your door.
Yeah, yeah. Completely unacceptable. Absolutely barbaric. Okay, let me find a reference. How do you feel about painting a person?
People. I painted people before. I'm not scared. Are you afraid? I'm not afraid.
Okay.
I'm gonna pick the hottest person in the world.
No, I'm going to pick whatever looks the most interesting and useful to learn something. Let's see. So many people.
Jackass says, I love the name. Those edges between different levels of shading is why I use Clip Studio. The blur tool behaves radically different from that reason alone. Photoshop is a no-go because the blur tool. Clip Studio saved me a lot of time. Well, the thing about edges is that blur tool isn't the be-all end-all when it comes to edges. So you should be thinking actively about the manner in which you use your selections, the manner in which you use your actual brushes themselves, because there's so many variations of soft that don't involve just blurring or blending. And in fact, you should be able to do a full painting, a full cohesive painting without any edges whatsoever and have it read, because that means that your shapes and your values are chosen appropriately. So while I do it, I will definitely say that some programs have stronger, stronger options in general for blending and for blurring purposes. If you aren't able to do that without any blurring, then most likely the blurring is going to be a crutch in your work. So the convenience is always good, but realize that should be, you should understand the concept of what exactly is happening there more than just the convenience of the tool, I feel like.
Okay, I'm going to give you a link to the one I'm thinking. You tell me that looks interesting for you. That's like the type of characters that I'm kind of like gonna try with. So I think like painting a face would be useful.
Let me see.
Or do you actually want to do like fully creative?
No, we can paint this face. That can be a study. I'm all good with that. Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do this in a 45 or an hour.
You know what? Let's start with 45, and then if we see that we really need that extra time, then we can just like extend a little bit.
I'm totally game. Okay, let me just put this link in the Discord. But yeah, I totally agree with you. I'm just gonna call you Jacques. I totally agree with you, Jacques, that some programs are a lot more convenient. Like I downloaded Photoshop recently, and that program just feels so goddamn good to me. Like I don't know why I haven't been using Photoshop for a while. I just got bad experiences with it.
Oh, someone is saying I didn't get the thing about the darkest light and the lightest dark. I'll explain to you.
Take it away.
So let's say we have a sphere. Oh, my music stopped. Let's see. There we go. I actually have Witcher music playing in the background.
Nice.
Okay, so I need a different brush for this. Oh, this brush lags so much. Boo. Let's take a simpler one. Okay, so we have an like a sphere, and let's see the light is hitting it here from this side. And then of course you have a little bit of bounce light on the other side, and from the whatever surface that it's sitting on. And the hardest shadow will be over here. Something like that. Now, if I did this correctly, let's hope I did. So you can see a little bit of like a fading over the edge here. I'll actually add a bit more shadow. I think it deserves just a bit more.
Cheers, Apple. Thanks for stopping by, man.
So basically, like all this light stuff over here is never going to be darker than the bounce light over here, even if I make it a bit more stronger. Let's see. Oh no, I used the wrong layer. That happens. Like the bounce light that you get from the other side should never be lighter. Okay, let's see. So that's the color, and that's the color here. So because of a darker that is sitting next to it, let's see, that's the shadow. Ah. There's just Photoshop has so many settings. Like that's one of the things that I love and hate about it. Anyway, this is the color of a bounce light. And here is like, this looks like a darkest light on this side. It's still lighter than this one. Like if you put a very bright color on the bounce light on the other side of the object, which in our case was like the side of a dog and whatnot. If you make that like this, even though like it's like the shadow, right? It starts looking flat. So what you need to be aware is that it will always be darker, even though you sense that there's a light source coming from here. It will still be darker than the darkest light. Did that make any sense? I'm not super good at explaining things, so I'm more like I can actually talk more about like designs and like sheep language and all that stuff rather than basics.
Yeah, how's it going, Ozzy? Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're welcome, Solmir. I'm glad it helped.
Cool. Angie was just explaining. Sorry, somebody asked what was happening. Angie was explaining the idea of darkest light needs to be lighter than the darkest dark, aka the separation of light and dark ideas. Also, Panda, you bootlegging your neighbor's Wi-Fi for me? I appreciate that. What was that comment that was made earlier on stream? Something about Photoshop blurring? Okay, Jacques says, for really smooth transitions between colors, in Photoshop you have to use the soft eraser a few times over and over and it hurts my wrists. In Clip Studio, the blur tool just does it in one go. I mean, it's not the only way of softening between two colors. I mean, there's so many methods of doing that.
I mean, there's a lot of ways of doing it in Photoshop.
Yeah, and not to mention, even just blurring between colors, I
mean, blur tool is a real thing in Photoshop too.
Yeah, there are a few ways, but I'm glad that you have a way that works for you, and I think that's important. So if it's convenient, then use it. There's no wrong way to paint, I guess, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, on Procreate we also have like a super nice blur tool, and I absolutely love it. It saves a lot of time. I think there's a way to set up a blur tool to be a bit more intuitive in in Photoshop as well, but like I just never get around to it. But I know that there's a way to get like a pretty deep blur tool. But you just like have to tinker with the settings, and you have to make that brush and all that stuff.
Blur tool isn't great for some things, but I can never find the right settings. I think something that people oftentimes miss is that painting is a kind of the art of like layering and layering and layering complexity. So sometimes, and I made this mistake very often trying to evaluate texture brushes when I started painting with texture, but oftentimes a texture brush by itself looks kind of shitty, oftentimes, but in combination with other things it looks great. Like airbrushing, for example, is a great idea. Like airbrushing is terrible for a beginner, it can really ruin a piece. However, when you use airbrushing in combination with other things, it can be very, very powerful. Like look at this dog over here. Like I can use airbrushing over here very slightly to kind of raise up local values in a way that's not super destructive. You see, I can slightly raise up local value and it really adds a bunch to the piece that wasn't there earlier. And something you can do with airbrushing. Not to mention, it's a great way of achieving, we were talking about soft edges, right? I mean, an airbrush is a fantastic way of getting a soft edge, just like this. So you have an area of dark, you have an area of light, and you get a lovely, lovely soft edge in between of them. You can airbrush, right? Lovely soft edge right there. Also remember the degrees of softness, so having multiple ways of softening things is really important. Because I can soften it with an airbrush, I can soften it with a blur brush, I can soften it with a graphite brush, I can do a bunch of things with manipulation, with filters to do the softening. Like there's so many ways of doing it.
Also, don't forget about the flow option in
Yeah.
Photoshop. It is extremely important because that's actually how you get the nice transitions without having to tinker with opacity too much.
So yeah, multiple ways to skin. I hate that phrase, multiple ways to skin a cat. But yeah, you should be aware of all of these because you can't have hyper similar transitions everywhere in your piece. It's going to kill the variance in your edges. So definitely think about multiple ways of doing the same thing because you want to have a hierarchy in all of your edges. In everything you want to have a hierarchy in your paintings. So while you might soften one thing in a certain way, an object that isn't as soft but is still soft might be softened a different way. So it's important. This is going to be the next reference, by the way, guys. This is a pretty good painting. I like it. There's going to be a great exercise in lack of exaggeration because there's so many just completely lost things on the canvas that I like. It's cool. I'm ready for it. Let me just get everything set up.
What I really like about this picture is the personality and the kind of the character that she has.
Yeah, I'm getting mad like Furiosa vibes from Mad Max.
Yeah, it's like this badass chick. Like I like that aesthetic. So, and I kind of want to use a lot of that for my further drawings. So yeah, it's pretty good to warm up on that.
Okay, let's quickly go trim this up. Be ready in a couple of seconds.
Okay, in that case, I'll be right back in like 1 minute.
Sure. Another thing, by the way, talking about the darkest light and lightest dark sol mirror in a painting, is that the entire idea behind having that is so you have a strong idea of this term, which is called a value hierarchy. It's so important in all paintings to have a strong value hierarchy, and you don't have that problem in your painting right now. But the idea is that when you have a structure of value, you have layers and layers of value like this, for example, you have 2 darks, and then let's say 3 lights, a very generic value structure, right? So this is about as generic as you can get with values. What that means is that you have a strong distinction between these two. So you have, this is the separation of light and dark right there, which is the foundation of your contrast in your piece. So the idea is that what is a dark is very clearly specified against what is a light. So that amount of visual clarity is super important in any piece. It's vitally important that is there. Let's show you some examples from master study, shall we? That'll be pretty interesting to see. Let's go to my downloads, and hopefully my masterwork is still there. I'm gonna set this one out, getting some food real quick. How early is it in the morning for you, man? You gotta get to bed at some point or the other.
So, are you ready?
Yeah, I just want to show Solomon just one thing that we're talking about.
Yeah, sure.
Kantsrov, could be Kairov as well, depending on where you hail from. Welcome to the stream. Yes, I get it, you have to distinguish the lightest dark and the darkest light, otherwise it gets flat. Not only does it get flat, but the entire painting gets muddled up. Like it can go flat, sure, but it can also give you this notion of form that doesn't exist, right? That was just one of the other problems with that, because being flat is one thing, but then betraying form is another completely different idea that is also equally dangerous for a piece. So you want to maintain that hierarchy so that everything is clearly signified. Because you want that visual clarity. It's immensely important for all paintings, all picture making, that you have visual clarity in your drawings. Okay, so we said 45 for this?
Yep.
Alright guys, if you want to paint along with this, the reference on my Discord, and you can submit the finished painting, the finished study, to the Discord as well. We just finished doing, where is that boy? I've lost him, I've lost my boy. He was somewhere over here. But we do this kind of thing every single day. We have a whole heck of a lot of paintings done together, us in the community. And we're going to be doing one more just now. We're going to be doing a value study of this face. It's going to be a lot of fun. Also ignore this cat, he's just hanging out.
This cat.
Okay, so let's go 3, 2, 1, and let's go.
Okay.
I have no idea how I'm gonna go about doing this.
Well, this is going to be a little bit, in a sense, it's easier because it's a black and white, but it's a person, so that's harder.
Because I want to keep this a little bit looser than I usually do it, so I might do this a little bit differently than I usually do it. Spectre, how's it going, man? Good to see you. Let's just start with a gradient and we'll work our way up from there.
I think I'm gonna actually try like a very harsh block in,
Yeah, that's what I'm doing as well.
as opposed to like some line art.
Sometimes with the overall silhouette it's just so basic in the sense that it's just like a front-facing, like generic kind of thing, then I'm much more comfortable doing this. Like if the pose is something that I haven't studied, I feel like I have such a bad time with things. If I haven't studied that particular pose before or that particular angle before. But when things are just in cardinal view, like just, okay, it's just a plain old front view, it's a plain old side view, right? Those things we studied enough to the point where you don't really need to put in that much effort into it.
I feel like this picture has been heavily modified. I mean, look at the placement of her ear. That is nonsense.
Jesus Christ.
It's been photoshopped.
She's got that Apple AirPods. Jesus, it's so hard.
I'm actually going to correct that in my painting because I can't stand these things.
Solmer,
It's
cheers,
kind
man. Solmer has to leave.
Oh, okay. Yeah, thanks for hanging out with us. But yeah, I'm not going to leave that. This is like one of the cases why using glamour pictures as references for learning to paint, it can be a trap. Like if you don't know better, you can go like, oh, so that's where the ear goes, right? And then end up like bringing it into your original work, and like everyone has ears where they're not supposed to be.
And they're gonna be like, what is such a bold style? What is the artist thinking about putting his ears so high up? What were they thinking?
Well, that's what the commentary would be if you put your artwork in art museum afterwards, like fine arts, modern arts.
What do you think people would say if your work right now, your body of work was put in a museum, and it's like years and years in the future? What do you think the comments would be?
Why is this thing in the museum again?
Could be. I mean, we don't know what the future's gonna be like, right? I mean, did the famous
like,
artists?
That's what they would be saying.
But do you think that Da Vinci and Michelangelo thought that people would be looking at their work hundreds and hundreds of years in the future?
Well, I mean, they didn't really have internet and see like what kind of commentary other artists are getting, right?
True.
So they couldn't really make like observational opinion.
Do you think that if Da Vinci had access to DeviantArt comments, he would change his artwork?
Oh boy, maybe he would have been drawing a very different kind of stuff, you know.
I've met a few people on Twitch that have come from DeviantArt, and they're all such sweethearts.
I mean, I come from DeviantArt, that's why I know about it.
True enough, but I've heard some horror stories. Welcome back, Candice.
Yeah, there's plenty of horrors. I mean, I would say DeviantArt is just this kind of place of you will find whatever you look for. So if you keep looking for like serious artists and like beautiful illustrations, that's what you're gonna find. But if you're wandering into the dark side of DeviantArt, well, that's what you're gonna find. Like, it caters to everyone. It just depends on your preference, what you're looking for, I suppose. But like, I'm glad that ArtStation showed up because, yeah, like giving the link to DeviantArt to like by looking for a job, I feel like we wouldn't even click on it.
Yeah, God bless ArtStation.
But honestly, I'm thankful to DeviantArt because that was the first place where I started placing my artworks for a very long time. Actually, I only made Twitter like I don't know, a year ago. Maybe no, I think I made it last summer. So it's really not been a long time. And DeviantArt was the place where I just put all of my back then super crappy artworks, and people still came in and said like, "Oh, this is so cool." And I mean, like even though I understood that I was not like I was far from a professional, but like just these kind words and support, like it just like kept me going.
Yeah, God
So
bless.
like it doesn't matter how peculiar some parts of DeviantArt is, it still like holds a nice place in my heart because like it's where I started as an artist.
Yeah, the guys, next time you shit talk DeviantArt, remember that Angevir Art, the world's most famous artist in the future, came from DeviantArt, so you better shut up.
I think it doesn't matter what kind of community it is, as long as there's that support and yeah, it's just like some people work very well under negative pressure, like kind of like getting bashed all the time. But I'm one of those people who kind of bashes myself so much, where I kind of need validation from other people that I'm do like that someone likes it because very often I don't. So like it played a very crucial part in me motivation.
Yeah, I get that. It's like when you're a parent and your child like has a very very low self-esteem or whatever. It's like you don't like tell them they're useless. You don't tell them they're shitty, right? You kind of bring them up as opposed to knock them down.
Yeah.
Kind of says I found James's Reddit account a few days ago while browsing my feed. Yeah, every time I posted the fucking to the Krita subreddit or the digital painting subreddit, they always upload my. For some reason, they like what I paint, so they always upvote it, which is kind of cool. It's good to know that you make decent stuff. But those are all studies, of course, right? It's not original work. When my original work gets uploaded like that, then I'll get happy.
It's very difficult. Like with original work, there's actually a lot of like it's very difficult to get likes.
Yeah, you
Tweets and
said this
whatever.
before, right? Because things are derivative, they already have that basis already. So
Not just that, it's like people can look and go like, oh, that's nice, but if you don't have any kind of personal, like, if it doesn't ring to them specifically, you're not really going to show any kind of big attention. And it is very easy to get support and likes if you're doing fan art. So that's another like trap that you can fall into, and I've seen several great artists fall into these traps where they cannot really grow as an artist anymore in the creative sense because we're so used to like pleasing the audience with what they want to see that like if they try to create something new and then they see that like there's just a few people who are interested in that new thing, not necessarily because it's bad, far from it, but just like fan art will always be fan art. It will always be like candy, basically. Like everybody wants it.
Mhm.
It's easy to please people with fan art. They already like it, and you just gave them a cherry on top, so of course they're gonna eat it up. It's like it's very simple. But when you try to show your original work, then it's a whole nother story, right? Because you have to. It's not just the skill level in which you deliver, but it's the idea. It's the what kind of story are you telling? Is that character interesting to those who are viewing it? Like there's just so much going on, and like you just have to get so good where you create a fandom of your own universe or your own art where it would become like super popular. But then again, it's a different industry. If you're if you're trying to be like a concept artist and work on a game or a movie or whatever, obviously our directors are not gonna give a anything about your fan arts. Like that's quite the opposite. That's how you don't even get checked out. So it's like it kind of depends on what kind of audience you're trying to please.
That's why you vie for the very popular things on default. You draw really attractive women, you draw really buff Henry Cavill men, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's how you.
Because it's like it's popular. It's just popular.
Yeah, it's why the usual channels that always work. That's why my OC character is going to be a giant buff man with huge boobs. I'm gonna hit both audiences.
That's not seen as often, so you know, still creative. I feel like my portraits always start super ugly.
I think they should, honestly.
Not this like my ideal would be to actually create art where it's like looks good from the very start to the very end.
I don't know about that. That seems like I don't think that's a goal that's achievable.
It's a far-fetched dream, right? But it's something to yearn for.
I would almost argue that ideal artwork is like your strokes are so specific that it only comes together in the last 10 minutes. Ultimately, like you keep working, but you're working so non-specific to specific that it's not gonna look like a blurry mass, but perfectly set up till like the last 10 minutes. Like I don't know, looking at like a Santos painting, for example, like those look like crap until the second painting, right? So he does underpainting, first painting, second painting. Like until he does the second painting, it's like I could do that work. But then after he does it, I'm like, oh shit.
Maybe not.
Forget what I said. Anything. Please don't find me.
I mean, it depends on how long, right?
I guess, yeah.
But if it's still quick, then of course. But like if it takes over a certain amount of time, then like yeah, like at some point it has to start looking good.
Especially with realism, like painting dirty is such a big thing. Like it's like people are really pushing for it these days. Like the person that made the Geneva method, which is a method of painting realism, like he's such a big proponent of painting dirty. He says, don't ever care about what the painting looks like at any stage. Just straight up, just capture the abstraction, capture the values. Just check just focus on the steps and focus on the process way more. And I sort of get where that kind of idea comes from, because I think when you try to make every stroke perfect, when you try to make everything look pretty, I think that's when paintings can really they take a shift from you're trying to end up with a good image to you want a good image right now, which might not particularly be the case of like what exactly you want. Like understandably, if you have a time frame of like an hour and you want 45 minutes into an hour your painting still looks like crap, then there's no way you're gonna salvage it. It's gonna look like crap at the finish. But
no, actually at 45 minutes it can still look like crap. Because 15 minutes is usually long enough to like smooth things out. Like if you laid everything in properly, then sometimes it's just a matter of smoothing it together to where it looks good.
Saronia, thanks for the 3-month sub. Holy shit. Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. Thank you for supporting the stream. It's gonna go towards paying for my IMAG subscription this month. Very much appreciate that. But yeah, I think painting dirty is really important. And I mean, it's a admirable thing to want to make everything look good from the start, but I don't know, I guess it also depends on how you block things out. Have you ever seen those hyper-realist artists paint and it's like the weirdest thing ever where they paint a perfect eye and a perfect nose and a perfect mouth?
Oh yeah, like from one corner to the image, like a printing machine,
it's
right?
It's both impressive and it's just like scary to me, because like I feel like that just affords you such a little amount of control that it's terrifying.
I find it a very impressive skill set.
Yeah,
at
me
the
too.
same time, I also find it super boring. Because I like the way I see art is that you have to put something of yourself in it, like give something new. And a lot of those images, not all, but a lot of those images are actually very much just a direct copy of already existing image.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, there's no new value to it, and like that, I'm not personally not a big fan.
So one of the problems is you could never do something like that when you're thinking from imagination, because designing is such a big part of like all paintings, and so is the drawing. So like you know that phrase "drawing is two-thirds painting," where you have to design something perfectly, otherwise there's no way you can light it, there's no way you can do it. So you can't do that. You can't get away with that kind of painting style or that kind of process if you're doing something with imagination. You just can't unless you have such an incredible amount of visual library on your subject. Like it's almost impossible to get that degree of finish.
Realism?
Yeah, I mean, you just can't. You can get that degree of realism in so many ways, but then how on earth would you do that by just finishing something and then finishing the next thing? Surely you'd want to take the entire painting equally step by step, right?
Well, there would be a lot of planning. I suppose if there's enough planning, it would be doable. Like if you already plan like okay I'm going to like use this part over here, like let's say the skin texture of that creature and like the hooves of that creature, and then you kind of like put everything together. But in that case it's very counterproductive, because if you're doing concept you want to do it quickly. You want to make it messy and allow accidents to happen, because there's a lot of ideas that come from those accidents.
Well, to be just to remember people that use methods like this, like Andrew Tischler is a hyperrealist sometimes with his portraiture and with his like seascapes and things like that. What he does is he does two paintings basically. So one painting he gets the ideas out of the way, and he paints it digitally usually, so he paints it really quickly, and he's a crazy good artist. And then he takes the idea, then he grids it out, and he maps the values, and then he mixes his colors traditionally and paints it in oil, which I think is a very cool way of doing it.
Yeah, that's actually a very solid way of doing it. But that's the thing, he gets the planning out of the way, and then he does the painting. But again, this takes much more time than just going in with dirty colors and rough ideas from the very beginning. Like the person who didn't waste time on the prep and then drawing almost the same thing again is going to like do a lot more work.
It's true.
In the same time. And like in this industry, it's very important. Like they don't really care, like often they don't care about the complete finish, and that's why photo bashing is a serious thing, like that you kind of need to learn a little bit of as well. Because in many cases they just want the idea, they just want something to give to the 3D modeler and that they can make it. They need enough information for it, but no more than that, because they want more ideas.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think Bobby Chu or somebody of that sort said that anybody can render in the industry. It's people that have good composition, good ideas, are the ones that really.
Yeah. But then again, like with that topic of rendering, it's a bit of a like if you're new to the industry, they want to know that you can.
Yeah,
render
true.
it. Like if they can pick someone who has great ideas and can render, and another who has great ideas, but well, they don't see what you can render, then I mean it's obvious who they're going to take. So
True.
it's just having as many things on your plate as you can.
Serenia says, "Thank you. I love your stream and I learned so much. That's how I can thank you for that. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I'm glad the stream can be a service to you. I very much try and have that pro-consumer mindset when I stream. Maybe not with the dual streams particularly, because I'm not going to invite somebody on a dual stream and say, oh, hey, how's it going, chat? Good, you guys should talk to me. Like, I try to talk to the streamer that I'm streaming with more often, but generally speaking, on my regular streams, very much I try to be as pro-consumer as possible. So I treat the stream as a service. So thanks for giving back. I appreciate that.
It's
Welcome
also
back,
much
Pauline.
more fun to talk about art than just regular stuff.
Dude, legitimately, I can't hold I can hold a conversation in real life easily, but on stream when I don't have the person like in front of me, it is just so difficult sometimes to just talk about nothing. And I envy streamers that can actually do that, because if I don't have a piece that I'm working on while I speak, like it's just gonna go so badly so quickly.
And so awkward.
Yeah, definitely. I have no idea what to say. Like sometimes my stream ends, like I finish my piece a little bit before my stream time ends, and I'm just sitting there wondering what to say. I have no idea whatsoever. Nothing interesting coming from my mouth.
Yeah, it's fun to have like share ideas on art and the process, and I just find it like even in real life that would be like one of my conversation that I like to have people. Well, obviously the more knowledgeable they are, then like the more there is to talk about as well. I mean, like, I can't really bring these topics around people who have like no idea about art.
Yeah, I told my mom that I've been digital painting recently, and then she said that's so cool. And then she said, "Hey, you want to go to the Escher Museum because he's a graphic artist just like you?" And I'm like, "No, no, no, no. I paint with a graphics tablet. I'm not a graphical artist." But Escher is
you could still go to.
I mean, I
like
wanted
Escher.
to. I definitely wanted to.
Such crazy stuff there.
I think Escher's awesome.
Yeah. It was actually one of the first artists that I was like, oh wow, this is so cool. Like it's very like it's very crazy. So there's like I'm not sure if there's a lot that at least personally I can like use in my artwork from his techniques and whatnot. But like it's just interesting. I just find it very interesting.
Yeah, that intense like mathematical calculation based like theoretical approach to artwork. It's cool.
Yeah, like that stairway that just goes like
The
into
infinite
itself.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
How cool is that though? Like being an artist and having an impact on like the math community. Like,
Oh, I've been raided.
oh, Jesus.
Thank you so much.
Dead inside.
Dead inside. Yeah, that's
Me too.
welcome. This is really cool.
Look at you.
We're doing a bit of warm-ups here, together with James.
That's me.
I'll put the dual command. Though I feel so odd just posting that because I think everyone knows about you anyway.
No, I don't know if Dead Inside and I have met, but we do appreciate the raid. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Dead Inside. After this, I'm going to begin my theme for today, which is going to be like fashionable fantasy, and I'm going to use a lot of street fashion, like now times street fashion, and then create characters inspired by that, and like do some hopefully cool, interesting stuff. Oh yeah, I don't think I mentioned to you, James, either, but I actually have graduated from costume design.
Hell yeah.
So that's like another reason why I actually like find this this theme appealing.
Very cool. I can't wait to see what you do with it. Costume design is always fantastic.
Yeah, it's like I went to like I wasn't sure out of school what I wanted to do. I knew I'm going to be an artist of some kind, but I didn't really have a very direct like goal in mind. I didn't really know about the entertainment industry back then either. Just one moment. I'm gonna read the Viking raid. We will steal your golden children.
Take
Sure.
'em.
Take them. Is that WoW music in the background? At the moment, yes. I just have like fantasy music playing. I like working to game music, since it has that quality of just keeping me concentrated. And
But what
not
about the
like
copyrights?
Actually, they don't even mute me on because it's a game. I think it doesn't do that.
What if CD Projekt Red sued you, Anna, for your music choices?
Well, I
They
mean,
were
in
like,
that case-
we really like your portfolio. Engineer Art, is it? Yeah, we really like your portfolio. And here's the thing though. We saw you illegally playing our music on your stream the other day, and that's why we cannot accept your application, so sorry.
Well, in that case, I would be, oh my god, they noticed me! Notice me!
Just any attention is fine.
Yeah, any attention is fine.
Tens, how's it going? Good to see you, buddy. God, this ear is like fucking me. Like, I hate it.
Great art. Thank you very much, Siak.
We're 23 minutes in.
These eyes are going. I think we're going to extend the. Wait, how much time is it actually?
We
Did you stop your
have.
timer?
No, I didn't stop it. It's 23 minutes left. So, no, 22 minutes left right now.
Oh, it's still plenty of time. We
That's
can
just
make
too
it
much time. I feel like it's way too much. Let's cut it by 10.
Oh man, no. I don't. It's still early for me. I don't feel like stressing in the morning. I'll be stressing and sweating from stress when I have to make those characters. I already oversold myself, you know.
It's true. They're all expecting some great things from you.
Yeah. I have a lot of expectations to fulfill. But yeah, that air, I just moved it down to where it's supposed to be because it's just stupid. So everyone be warned, if you're using glamour pictures for your references, make sure to kind of double check if they didn't Photoshop something weird. Like sometimes they make like a neck ridiculously long. I think ours is already elongated a bit, but like still within reason.
Sirac, we are both using graphics tablets. So,
Yes.
what is the one that you use right now? You said you use, it's an Intuos, right?
Yeah, I use Wacom Intuos 5. It's an old one, but it checks out.
It's an old code, sir, but it checks out.
Yep. I feel like now finally my girl is starting to look a little bit better because I started very rough, so it was just like a complete awful mess previously. But it's like I try not to get demotivated by that anymore because I know I can fix it.
Oh yeah, having that confidence that you can rescue a piece is a big deal.
Yeah. But then again, that's because I just painted so many faces. And a lot of them from imagination. So it's like, sometimes I don't even use the reference, I just draw something because I know it should be there.
Oh yeah, flex on that reference. Dot, how's it going, man? Go follow Dot. Great streamer. How's it going? How's it going, buddy? Good to see you. We're doing a bit of a morning stream right now with the illustrious Angie Virart on the mic with me. She's streaming as well. Hit that exclamation on the view. Go say hi to her. She's a fantastic painter. I'm sure you'll learn something from her. Oh, somebody has forgotten to put halftones in their drawing. His name rhymes with Lames.
Who needs halftones, right?
Yeah, it's just a super stark transition on the neck. It's like it's got a robotic neck. Okay, let's put something for the hair real quick.
I also notice how just adding these core shadows in the hair can sometimes just be enough to like already it's like it's here after a few triangles in correct areas.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. All it takes.
It's always a very interesting question. People come and say, hey, I don't know how to paint hair. I'm like, yeah, well, stop treating it like hair. Just treat it like anything else and you're fine.
I think like when it comes to hair is like blur your eyes really hard and then paint what you see.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest cases for that is just looking at masters painters like Sargent and whoever else. Like, they don't give a shit about the hair. Like, it's like 4 strokes maximum.
I mean, having those few small strands can really make it look like it's oh so detailed when everything else is just a blob. And then you also just add those few strands at the very end, and that kind of just like pulls everything together.
Yeah, context, right?
But like, yeah, but like when you're new to art, you're usually very tempted to add them from very beginning, and then it just like kind of beats the purpose. I like how the eyelid in this case is actually like very low. Like you can't see the double eyelid.
Yeah, it's almost like an Asian.
Yeah.
Good.
But like in a different way. Like Asian eye would be like a little like flatter, like it wouldn't be set so deep in the face.
True, yeah.
I like giving Asian faces to elves. It just fits so beautifully.
I mean, they got that,
like,
that mysticalness to them, I guess, right?
Yeah, and that like the sleek shape of the eye, and then you kind of like tilt it a little bit, and it's like a perfect elf right off the bat. Like I love.
I can't say I've ever seen too many like Asian-looking elves in too many like
Yeah,
lores.
that's the thing. It's also not like used a lot. So when I figured it out, it was like, holy hell, this is a treasure trove.
Hell yeah, it's gonna be your mark now, Angiver and the Asian elves. I'm still like so scared about adding things above my existing drawings. Even though sometimes I use layers, I'm still terrified about it. It's a really annoying habit to get out of.
I think that is something that also would become much easier the more you actually finish the paintings to the very end.
You're just trying to get me to finish paintings, aren't you?
Maybe. Maybe.
How can I just be a study streamer for the rest of my life, Andrew? Or why do you have to make me grow up?
Well, you can if you want to. I mean.
I don't want to grow up. I want to just be doing my studies for the rest of my life.
Okay. Well, in that case, you will not get this comment from me anymore.
Okay, I'll finish some paintings. Fucking hell. Is a painting really finished though? Oh no. Dude, let's talk about art in general. What is a painting? What is an art? Right?
What is art? Oh,
What is
man.
an art? That's what I'm gonna tell. That's what I'm gonna tell my my future employer when they say, "Why is there nothing finished in your entire portfolio?" I'll be like, "What is finished?" And they'll just kick me out immediately.
What is this finished concept that you speak of?
Yeah.
I am not entirely sure.
It's just a
Can
state
you
of
explain
mind.
it?
It's like finished is just a state of mind. And be like, "Yeah, so is unemployment. See you later."
That's like, you want some bad advice?
Go ahead.
Only use studies and fan art applying for concept art position.
I will do just that. That's all that I've done so far. So I'm ready.
This is the strongest bad advice I can give you.
Is it dad advice or bad advice?
That's a deep question. Indeed, it is a deep question. I feel like sometimes talking about what is art is almost on the lines of speaking about religion or politics. Or
What is philosophy?
Yeah, it's like it gets super, super deep.
Finishing things is too scary. It's finished when I get paid. I think that's a great way of saying it. What kind of work do you do, Dead Inside?
Existential dread begins to set in. Oh no. Oh no.
That's the everyday routine right there.
Well, I guess welcome to the hole.
Points? How's it going, Mr. Half-Ass? I like abstract looking hair. I don't like hair that's super... Like, I love looking at women with, like, super straight hair, but I like painting messes, you know? It's always fun.
Yeah. It's really fun, like those few, how it kind of goes in locks of hair, and then just, like, intertwines with each other. It's, like, it's very,
It's aesthetic, man. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Wrong chat, sorry. Okay.
Go around pointing in my chat. Please
look-
don't go.
You're looking for Angiver's sister channel? That's Banjavir Art. This is going remarkably well, I think. I'm really surprised how much we both got done in a time frame. I still haven't put my
Well, I
eyes in,
mean,
by the way.
If you work, you get stuff done. Like.
Wait,
it's-
are you saying that if I paint, I have a painting at the end of it? Holy shit.
Yeah. I know. It's absolutely mind blowing.
It's ridiculous. I'm gonna call the cops on you. This is illegal.
I was painting an eclipse inspired from Dark Souls 3. Oh, that's interesting.
Post it, man.
By the way, yeah, post it. Yeah, just put it in the chat.
Oh, fuck. I can't believe you've done this.
Hey, Mir the Creative, thank you for the follow, I appreciate you. We're doing a study right now. Join in if you'd like. Everything on the Discord for you in the study channels, study references, study posts. We're doing...
Saranya, thank you for the follow. And Dot times 3, also thank you for the follow.
That's a legend right there.
Ooh.
He's
Oh,
actually
gathering
he's my
legends?
godfather.
That's nice.
He's the godfather of my child.
We shall name him Art.
Like Garfunkel?
I don't know. I'm just. Yeah.
Art is actually a first name.
Just roll with it, okay?
Okay, fine, I'll roll with it. Jesus. What are points of contention for you in this piece? What do you like, what do you not like?
Well, I obviously don't like the fact that this image is tinkered with.
Oh yeah, they've
That's-
photoshopped. They have corrupted the perfect human form. How dare they?
Yes, exactly. So that I don't like. But I mean, because I'm aware of it, I can fix it, so it's not like a huge deal. What I do like, actually, I'm a big fan of these reflections on the leather jacket.
The
Like
reflections?
that's the kind. Yeah, like you see where the seams are. on the
Oh,
jacket.
right. I'm completely
and
blind
where
to
the and where the edge of a lever is kind of facing the light, and you get these like very like leathery texture from it. So like these kind of details I like to pay attention to, since that will help me go with my concept designs when I need to show that this is a lever or something. So I try to pay attention to this. What I also like, as I mentioned before, is that just a type of archetype of a person, I guess. Like this kind of like badass chick with short hair and a leather jacket. Like I like that aesthetic. Also, I'm planning to use that kind of aesthetic, at least in some of the designs.
I'm a fan of women that can hurt me, yes.
And I guess like that's the main things, and then like things like the eyes and just like details. I guess I don't really look at these artworks as a whole so much anymore. I kind of look like, okay, I like the eyes, like these kind of eyes are not very like, don't come across them very often, or at least I haven't painted many eyes like this with like a low lid where you can't really like you don't see the double lid, and it's a little bit more like difficult to paint really, for one because I'm less used to it, and that's always good. So I want to try to like different stuff.
Right. You asked, are you going to paint one other study after this one? I actually want to do one more dog study for myself, but I think me and Angie are going to go our separate ways after this one.
Yeah, I'm going to start making the designs after this.
Yeah, so there'll be one more study on my channel, and then I'll go ahead and raid Angie here, and that'll be it for my stream. But there will be one more study on my stream, yes. Along with crits if anybody has those. You're welcome to join. I'll try joining you for the next one. Cool,
Did inside posted a picture. Be
Yeah.
gentle on me. Oh, that looks really nice. Is this acrylics or oil?
That'd be awesome, Yabu.
Praise the sun. Oh hell yeah. My husband would absolutely love this. He's like a huge fan of Dark Souls and yeah. This is really nice. I like how you got the red tones and like the yellow on these like clouds. Especially on traditional. Like keeping the colors, I find always that keeping the colors is very difficult for me, so that's really cool. Good job.
That is sick, dude. That's really cool. That's like the Dark Sun or whatever, right? From Dark Souls?
Yeah, it seems to be.
It's awesome. I really like that. Good job. Also, it's traditional, which means immediately whatever you have done is better than what I've done.
Yeah, it's like immediately like, oh, it's traditional. Yeah, you get extra points for it. I actually really hated painting in art school.
Yeah? Did you do fine art stuff?
Yeah, I was in a school where it was basically a school, but also we had like extra 10 hours a week of art related stuff, like drawing, painting, color, composition, graphics, design, all of this stuff. Sculpture as well. And I absolutely hated painting. Like just getting the paint out of the box for me was like really didn't like it, which I find extremely amusing because I love it now when it's digital.
Yeah, time and place, right, I guess, right? Time, place, circumstances.
Yeah, I guess I just like having all the colors, all the shades, the canvases, the brushes, everything in one place.
Yeah, God bless. There's so much more inconvenience. Like I feel like a lot of things digital does better, but then not does better, but does more conveniently. I don't want to say better, but then so many things in traditional are also kind of cool. Like you don't ever have to worry about like too much brush variance in traditional. Like it's certainly a consideration to be made, but oftentimes when I see
wait a second. The design is saying, "What is traditional? I'm still learning." And at this point, I can't tell if this is honest or trolling.
I don't think that's trolling. Traditional art means not painting with the computer or painting digitally.
Yeah, traditional art is basically watercolors, gouache, pencils, whatever where you're painting or drawing on paper and not on a computer. That is traditional.
So basically,
So
whatever
sculpture
painting that you
can-
make, you know, that people say, hey, there's so much soul in your painting. That's traditional, and they say there's no soul, that's digital.
No, don't listen to that. That's bad. He's wrong. Don't listen to that one.
Got so much poofiness in the hair, my goodness.
Yeah, it's super poofy. Right, what were we talking about?
I don't remember. Oh, you're talking about your experiences in fine art and how you didn't like painting in school, but you like painting now?
Oh, right, yeah. So I was actually a big fan of watercolors, like that I enjoyed. But all of my paintings were like very soft, like very gentle, which has haunted me for a very long time. Like I've always like very careful colors and like shapes and like the whole over exaggerate thing, like that did not come naturally. Like I really had to push myself. I still am. I feel like I'm still too careful with my art, everything really, even when it comes to designs.
Right.
So it's something I'm working on. But yeah, I just really like digital.
Yeah, because you don't have to be as careful anymore, right? Because you can always go back.
Yeah, and I can always I feel free from making mistakes. Because no matter how bad of a mistake I make, I will always manage to either just fix it or just remove it from my screen and paint something else, right? On paper, it's all set in stone. Which, on another hand, is also a good thing
Oh, fuck.
because you are
I
much
can't
more
believe you've
careful
done
and
this.
thoughtful while you're drawing, planning ahead, and you're not doing shitty compositions because you know you can just fix it later, right?
Yeah.
It's like it's less forgiving. But I do like the freedom that comes to digital, and just allowing myself to mess up and just push myself doing, stuff.
Yeah, as with most things, I think they're very, very strong, like, reasons and ideas to do both things, right? Like, I think Craig Mullins will always say, you should do your gouache training before you do digital art. Don't pick up a tablet unless you do your gouache training. And there is, like, a lot of
I think
importance
there's
with
a lot
that.
of truth in that.
Yeah, because
I mean,
when you're exposed to so many tools, go ahead.
no, you can finish your thought.
When you're exposed to so many tools, it's just so exciting, right? Suddenly you can undo everything, you have layers, you have so much, like, variance in your work. And you can just forget about, like, just fundamental aspects of painting in general, what makes a painting a good painting. Like, it's very easy to forget this. And just painting traditionally, using traditional tools, it's so important to kind of understand exactly what makes good visual art, what makes good pictures, and then jump into digital and then be even stronger.
Yeah. Another reason is simply because in traditional, the fundamentals are exactly the same.
Oh yeah.
And I think most people maybe focus a little bit more on fundamentals when they're doing traditional opposed to digital, because in digital, like, there's a lot of this, wanting to make your own stuff immediately and just making everything from your own mind.
Yeah.
While in traditional, at least in art schools, you're sat in front of a still art and you're painting apples and pots and stuff, and that is basic shapes, and you learn how they interact and how reflections work and what colors work with what other colors. So, like, there's a lot of just very important information that you go through, all while actually having to mix the colors yourself instead of just picking.
Yeah, so it kind of makes you much more, like, fastidious and, like, you think a lot more about stuff because
Yeah.
you don't have enough second chances, and also you put in so much work already for the painting, right? You're like, I spent 5 hours in this piece, and if I mix the wrong color, then my entire piece is going to be ruined. But even then, it's like some.
I'm a fan of your accent. Your art is dope too. Thank you.
What is that accent? It's Lithuanian, right?
Yeah, I mean, at the very beginning it was like very Lithuanian, but now it's some kind of weird mix of, I don't know, general European with some Lithuanian still left in it, because like actual Lithuanian accent was strong.
Thanks for the follow. That's Mira Barber. Welcome. We're doing studies today, so if you want to join in, if you want to paint along, I know you didn't plan on coming into the stream, but if you want to paint along with us, I have made all the resources available to you on the Discord. Go find the study channels, find the references, find the past work. Jump in.
I think it's time to give her a cigarette.
You haven't done that yet? Oh, you haven't.
Nope.
Oh no, for shame, my goodness. Forgetting the most important part of the entire picture.
The most important part that should have been from the very beginning.
No, you're just being conscious about the work. You don't want to send a bad message to your stream. So.
Oh, right. I'll give her a lollipop. It's chocolate, guys. It's just a wrapped chocolate. She's not small. Oh, GXStan123, thank you for the follow.
Oh yeah, JX10. Go follow Angie, by the way, if you're in my stream. If you're enjoying the commentary, you'll enjoy her work as much, if not more. Go check her out. She was very kind enough to.
I'm posting the dual stream link again in case there's anyone who's not aware of the man on the other end.
It's me,
You can
I'm the
see
man.
both of our views on the link. And that's Indian abroad. He's actually the generator of the study kind of streams. So if you want to paint along and do this more often, then definitely recommend just joining him on these endeavors.
It's a good word. Hell yeah, vocabulary. God, I hate this little line that I have in between the neck and the
The
chin.
and the neck.
God, I hate it.
Yeah, it's a very odd line. Again, I think it's because of it's been tinkered with. I think the neck has been slimmed down from reality, and then the light is a little bit like you know when they use reflectors, and you get a bit of like a bounce light from all directions.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So you get both a shadow and then a light on the neck, which is like I think it would be a softer transition in like a more realistic lighting. But it looks fine in the photo, so we can kind of use that.
Oh, our time's up, by the way.
I think I actually wanted to go for an hour instead. Just
Yeah?
like give that a little bit of extra, you know, oomph. Extra finish.
The oomph, hell yeah.
Yes.
Now you're speaking my language, let's do it. I actually really like the way that mine is right now. I specifically did this for 45. So I'm just gonna save this real quick and then I'll continue.
Oh, yours is really good.
Thanks.
I really love how that came out.
This is my roots right here, just painting people.
Yeah, like I remember when the first time I saw you streaming, I was like, oh man, he sure knows how to do his studies. Like, just yeah.
Yeah, my fundamentals are good. It's just that there's a difference between knowing fundamentals and knowing how to paint. So that's what we're learning right now. That's what I'm trying to learn right now, and hopefully learn enough to build a good portfolio in the next few months.
Yeah, good luck with that. It's going to be pretty tough. I'm actually working on my portfolio a bit too.
Yeah, but mine's gonna be a little bit less competitive than yours because I'm just working on one to get into art school as opposed to get into a job. So thankfully,
like that's very different,
I can be
of course.
big. I can be big noob. It might make better sense just to take more time and then apply to both schools and companies, but I want to keep it like reasonable, right?
Mm. No, it's like especially if you want to be a freelancer, like it just have to be so good to get in.
Yeah, I heard Sam White, who's a artist on Twitch, he became very recently. He became a Magic the Gathering freelance artist, and
Oh, wow,
that's like
awesome.
he's very good. But I feel like you're not far off whatsoever. I feel like the only difference is you don't have as many like pieces out there as he does. You should check out his Instagram. I think your work is quite comparable.
What's his
Sam White, SAMWHITE, and then art.
can you just put it in Discord afterwards?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome, thanks.
Dot says, I've been doing a lot of charcoal recently and it feels so nice messing up and figuring out how to save it as best as I can instead of doing digital and trying to fix every stroke. Hopefully one day they give us plebeian squad streaming. Yeah, squad streaming is okay. The way that squad streaming currently is on Twitch, however, is kind of shitty. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of really weird. And I
Is
don't.
this when there's more than 2 people?
Yeah, it's a weird situation right now with the whole squad streaming thing. I think much better is that a lot of us kind of band together and do streams with multiple captures in the same stream, which is possible right now, which is what we should be doing. I think, especially for creative, I think it'll be really good because art in general, well, I love creating it, I love watching it personally. For the general public, the reward loop I've always felt like is not enough to keep the general masses kind of enthused. So how you kind of fix that little control loop is that you add more information at every single point of time, and that more information is really going to help out. So having more artists at the same time is going to help immensely with a lot of people's streams. So I think having multiple streams on one particular window is better than this whole squad streaming thing. This is the way I feel about it though.
I feel like when I put the shiny thing, the reflection on the eye, it's going to suddenly look
Like
like
5 times
alive.
better. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm
Narfi.
trying not to do it too often, like not yet. Not yet.
Yeah, I think Cynics calls that the gratification portion of a painting, where you don't want to gratify yourself too hard. You're kind of edging the whole painting, right? You're like,
Yeah.
you really want to savor it when you put it in. Hey, Indy, guess what? Go ahead, Narfi. Follow Narfi, by the way. Follow where Narfi is. What is up? Are you eating something? Is that what I'm supposed to guess? Are you eating a burger? You better not be eating a burger. Oh my goodness! Holy shit! Pokuri! You
Whoa.
beautiful bean! Holy shit!
Oh, fuck. I can't
This
believe
is a
you've done
whole
this.
army you're getting. Jesus.
My goodness! My goodness, you beautiful people! How's it going? We raid and we stay. Oh my lord! Thank you guys so much for the raid. I'm gonna pause my timer. We're doing some quick studies with Angevir art to warm up with. My goodness. But my name is Indiana Bud, aka James. I'm a study streamer. I try to learn painting every single day on Twitch. And to that end, we do a bunch of studies and try to evaluate the studies based on what we learn from them. Here are some examples of paintings that I've done in the past couple of weeks.
Oh,
I do multiple paintings every single day. Some of them on stream, some of them off. All of these are done within maybe 60 minutes. Some of these in 45, some of these in 30. Oh Jesus, something just turned on in the background and scared the shit out of me.
oh, fuck. I can't believe you've done this.
That's some examples of my work over here. And I also paint
Let that inside.
I paint a bunch of streamers as well. I can show you some of my work on Instagram. You're welcome to go check me out there. Pokeri, thank you so much for the raid. I love hanging out on your stream. It's such a cool vibe. That's some examples of my work right here. I also paint I paint some and I also
Thank you
paint
for the
some
follow that inside.
streamers. See, that's a streamer. That's a streamer. That's also a streamer. Welcome. Love, love, love as always. Thank you, Pokeri. That's so kind of you. I hope you had a good stream. You stream so early in the morning, and I'm such a
Oh,
degenerate
fuck. I can't believe
that
you've
half the
done
time
this.
I wake up at like 9 or 10 in the morning, and I just miss you stream entirely. Where's the painting of Ponko? It's not here yet. Okay, I'm still working on it. Give me a break. I'm still working on it. There's not that many pictures of Pokeri out there, but somebody gave me some super secret pictures of her. So I'll be painting that in a little bit.
Oh,
It's gonna happen.
I can't believe you've done this.
Valkyrian, thank you. Lok, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Super secret? It's just a painting of you in black and white, or a picture of you in
I
black
can't
and white.
believe you've done this.
But I've been sworn to secrecy. I'm not allowed to tell you who gave me that picture. But it is coming. Right now, I've taken a little bit of a break from painting streamers. Every now and again, I'll still do that. Like this is a streamer that's guilty cosplay, but it's a little bit on the back burner right now, because I'm trying to become good super artist and have a portfolio by the end of the year. And I'm so lazy that I don't put that much original work out there. Like this is an original piece that I did this morning. Actually, I woke up at like 6 in the morning and I started painting. But yeah, welcome guys. Thanks so much for stopping by. We have like 10 minutes left in the study. Angevir over there wanted 15 extra minutes because, you know, she just cares about me and she wants me to be able to finish. But yeah, I don't know what to do right now in the study. But I'm just going to continue till the time ends. But you guys are going to be seeing the finished study on the Discord. We just also don't mind about the don't mind this. This is my little friend. He loves me and he takes care of me. And if you stay long enough, he'll take care of you. Real good. Anyway.
Real good with fire.
Thank you so much for the follows, guys. Thank you for the raid as well, Pokeri. How was your stream? Can I please see what we were working on? You're such a good artist. What the hell? You're so stinking good. Show me your work.
Okay, hey, you didn't tell me you started the timer again. Cheat.
And I started the timer again. There you go. Your study looks fine. What are you complaining about?
I'm complaining because I'm never happy.
It was good.
My life.
I drew a lot of girls. Can I see the lot of girls, please? I promise I'll give them back. The painting girls is hard. I don't know how you girls do it. It's so strange. Like Norfie does girls really well. Different does girls really well. All girls paint girls better than I do, and it annoys me.
I mean, you just painted a girl better than me, so I don't know what you're complaining about.
Yeah, but I cheated. I did this in digital.
Well, I cheated too, you know.
This is how I draw. How I draw girls is I draw a man, and then I just use soften and blur, and then I just use this deform tool.
Yeah, that's. I mean, you're not wrong. So what's the what's the problem?
I mean, fair enough. If you want to see both perspectives, by the way, guys, we're doing this study together, so you can go ahead and hit that exclamation mark dual command. Go see Anjavir. She is a very, very, very good artist. One of the best artists that I know of. In my community and this Twitch in general, so go check her out. You won't be disappointed.
Yeah, thank you for the kind words.
You're welcome. So yeah, if you guys are new to art, if you want to get better at it, I'm not an expert by any means, but I have been doing studies for about a year now, so my fundamentals are pretty okay. They're not great, but they're pretty okay. And right now I've been trying to apply that into some complete full pieces so people will actually take me seriously. Do you take me seriously, Anjavir?
Yeah.
See how good she lies? It's incredible. I almost believed it there for a second. My goodness. You don't need any permission.
Why would I believe you? I mean, you work and you draw great stuff. I mean, what's there not to believe in?
There's no permission links, Pokeri. Please post. Go ahead, post. I actually still have the thing that you posted the last time you raided me. It's so kind of you. So stinking kind. Here's one of them. Cool. I'm gonna let my timer burn out because I don't have too much else to add on this study.
Yeah, you can just keep talking while I
Super
do
commentary.
my last few strokes, since you know you want to show off how you finished it faster than me.
Guys, can I just point out something with really good artists? 'Cause this is fantastic. Really good work, Pokeri. But I want to point out something. This is like the low-key biggest flex that any artist can do on another artist. Like, this is the biggest art flex. So you draw something that's incredibly beautiful, like this, and then you say sketch at the very bottom. You say sketch. And that's how you flex on every other artist, because it's so good. Really good stuff, though, Pokeri. Fantastic work. Holy crap. Love it.
I want to see that too.
It's on my screen right now. But very cool.
Oh,
Dude,
that's great.
You and Seijin, man. You and Seijin are just so goddamn good with this particular, like... I don't know if your styles are comparable, because... I don't understand, like, anime stuff very well, so I can't speak like I know it. But it's definitely both at very, very high levels. And I'm always envious of this.
One thing I really love about anime art is that most of the time it just has this great movement to it. Like, it's like kind of like comic art, but like a little bit different. And there's just so much movement, crazy perspective, and like that exaggeration taken like so far, and I absolutely.
Go follow Pokeri. She is incredible. And this is a great stream to hang out at. You should definitely go follow her. Just a great kind of vibe. I love putting you on in the morning when I don't sleep. And it's like just so relaxing, so calm. I kind of sometimes forget about just how much of a degenerate I sometimes am with the lack of sleep and with the constant painting. So shout outs to you. You have a great thing going on there. And I'm very, very glad to be part of the things that you built, because it's fantastic. You gotta change to really good art requests. Dude, I would never do... I'm so terrified of doing requests on stream because I've messed it up so much in the past. Gonna go get a little bit of sleep before work. Keep up the great work, Indiana Broad. See you soon. Cheers, man. I appreciate you. Thank you for the lurk as well. I intentionally really did not exaggerate a lot of the study, because I felt like it didn't need it to be exaggerated for it to be good. So like I've
Yeah,
not painted the eye and I've not painted half of the nose. I did this very peculiarly, but it was fun. So nice, thank you. Oh no, the pleasure is all mine. Thank you for that. Incredible support. You have no idea how much these kind of things mean to smaller streamers like me. I'm still small. In every place that it counts. So it's very good to get this kind of support because, I mean, we'd never see the. I don't know, we'd never break out of that little mold. Like I think everybody would just be stuck at like 15 viewers average, if not for bigger streamers rating us. So yeah, we owe a lot to the largest streamers on Creative, and we are very, very grateful that you pay it forwards. Indy's a nice lady, I try. Every place that counts, every place that matters to you, Just Abs. Better watch out. To follow my boyfriend, Just Abs, he's in the chat. He does parkour and he paints pictures. What's
Okay,
gonna...
I think I'm mostly done with this now. Like, I don't really want to. I think I'm gonna just do a filter with liquify. Oops, have it locked. There we go. And just like make her a little bit angrier because she's like more pissed off in the picture.
Bookie says, I'm also gonna hop off the bed. Sorry to host and run. Don't worry about it. I have an amazing rest of your stream. You should thank Chrono too. She introduced the channel to me. Thank you, Narfi. I always appreciate you. Follow Narfi as well. She's such a good streamer. Appreciate you guys. Whipping out the hard cheats. I know, right? Why doesn't Ab say anything about Angevir cheating on digital art? A good night, Poker. Thank you
Apparently,
so
if
much.
I do it, it's not cheating.
This is some grade A nepotism right here. North, disgusting behavior. There you go. I didn't touch your hair. I'm so slow on digital. You'll get there. Eventually, you'll get to be like me with time to spare.
Okay, I'm calling this done. I'm not 100% happy with it, but it's.
Is it because I'm rushing you? I'm sorry.
No. I think like in my case, it's very clear to see where I put my interest, and you can see how the jacket it has like the reflections and like the seams noted down. Like this is like the stuff I actually cared about, and like the rest of the girls like, it's a girl.
Dude, I feel so bad about not putting anything on the jacket. It's just like blanket dark because I love the face so much. But
Yeah, it's like I actually really like the decision that you took. Because like it doesn't like the jacket does not need those reflections to make the image work. It's just like where my personal interest went, and it's like very clear to see.
oh, this is really fun though. I think it's a great reference. Also,
Yeah, it was
did
fun.
you
Except for the ears. Let's bash the ears.
Yeah, horrible ears.
Yep.
What were you thinking? Chrono has really good taste. I should hope so. She hangs out here quite a lot, and I've never figured out why, but I do appreciate you, Narfi. Okay, let's upload this, guys. If you guys did do the study with this, if you guys did do the study with this, please put it on the Discord. We shall review quite soon. And we're gonna see what everybody has done for the study.
So stay around for the review, and then I'm gonna start working on the actual concept.
Hell yeah.
Let's see how many painted along with us, if any.
I think Canvas or Abs. I think Abs is painting along with us right now. But we can review the work really quickly. I can show you guys what we've been doing over in my corner of Twitch today. So we painted this doggy. First and foremost, we painted this best boy right here. And a lot of us I think did quite well. That was mine right there. That one's Angevir's. So good, my goodness. So much texture. Solmer. So Paulie did finish his dog. I think it looks awesome. Really cool stuff.
Oh, that's really nice.
Very,
I
very
love
neat.
how they addressed the things that I mentioned, and it's like, it's so nice.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. Really solid. I love that kind of harsh, almost imposter look that's on there. I'm a big fan of that whole look. Canvas does that so much on his work, and I just like seeing that oftentimes. It's very, very cool. gonna check what my view is. This is Angivir's study of what we just studied. I think it looks fantastic. It's a good job. How are you feeling about yours?
Abs posted. Well, personally, I mean, I see a bunch of things that I would like to fix, especially the notes. I feel like it's lacking a little bit of shape. But generally, like getting down the like the type of person, and like basically just showing the personality, and also the information that I got by doing the jacket. Like that's the most valuable part for me personally. So, but it was like very fun to do, really.
Yeah, this is a really fun study in general. I think I'd like to see a little bit more abstraction in the hair. I like the light side of the hair, but the dark side I think it could go a little bit more crazy. I think I went too crazy with it, but maybe a little bit more information right there.
I feel like I need to abstract more overall in faces because I'm so used to painting like full portraits where I have to go to like full detail. And like I noticed it's a bad habit of mine to actually just like putting some stuff too early on or not generalizing enough in early stages. So I think that's actually going to be like I'm gonna have to paint a bit more like quick portraits like this, like studies, just to kind of like make more mental notes on where I can afford to like really just blank it out or generalize more than I do already.
And the little highlights on the leather, I think the actual placement is really good, but those values I dock a little bit. I think they're a bit too reflective right now. I think the values are a little bit too high.
At least on the left side. On the right side, I think it looks quite convincing.
Yeah, on the right side, I like those. I think those are very good.
Yeah.
How's it going, Edward? Good to see you. Polly says, I'm not too happy with the muddy cream highlight. I let myself feel rushed. Well, don't be afraid to... The thing is, with the time limit...
Thank you for the follow, Valkyrian. Very appreciated.
With the time limit, you don't particularly have to stick to it to the point where you don't get what you want out of the study. So I get that you might not like the muddy creamness of it, so don't be afraid of just going back in there, experimenting on with some levels, with some shifting, with some filters, even if it's just with straight painting on top of a different layer. Don't ever feel locked into the painting, and this is a very common thing that most people kind of find in a lot of paintings, that you paint something in and then you get locked into your decisions. Try to experiment around with being nimble. So all you can do, and this is what I do oftentimes, is I just duplicate my layer, and I go back in with my changes, and half the time, if not all the time, I find that I just stick with whatever I duplicated because I think it's just better. So don't feel locked in. So you can always change this up if you want to, if it's not punching hard enough.
Yeah, and you can always come back.
Exactly.
Keep a copy. Like that's my usual workflow. I paint, and I make a new layer, start painting on top, and if I like what I painted on top, then I merge it down and then make a new layer again. Like that's very often my my process.
Very cool.
Okay, you're showing us our stream channel again.
Oh, I keep forgetting what view I'm on. This is mine. This is my little study right there.
I can't believe you've done this.
So that right there before was Angivir's right there. I'm just browsing the internet while I'm on stream. And this is mine. I kept mine really loose.
I really love, like, especially the hair. I'm a huge fan of how the hair turned out in yours.
Yeah, it's not too bad. One thing I always get kind of mixed up is my size of the hair. I think I would have liked it to be a little bit wider on the study. I feel like I messed it up a little bit more because I like...
No, I wouldn't say so, because if you look at the reference image, the hair and the skin actually are very similar tone. Like, there's not really...
The value is quite good, but the actual size of the hair in terms of proportion, I think I would like to poof it up a bit wider. I like how that looks in the... Because that's one of the parts that I like about the reference that I didn't put in my study, and I should have done that. I would like that a lot more. One thing that I really like about the drawing is how I did like the eyes and the just the general abstraction of the painting is good.
Yeah, and the lip looks very good too.
Yeah, so I think I had a strong amount of control. So this one I did with 0 line work, and it's good to let's go back. So my proportional issues are still there, ever so slightly, but yeah, I mean, this is what I'm used to painting. I'm used to painting without lines and, you know, without any guides. So it's somewhat okay. But beyond that, I wish I actually put some information to that leather, because there are so many cool shapes right there that I would love to cut out with selection and then soften up. I would have maybe...
It's like very very interesting leathery kind of texture.
Yeah, so when I said that I had 50 minutes left to spare, maybe that's where I should have put the time in. Just put a bit more detail in there, because I had the time to, right? I think it would certainly be good to do so. I think it's good.
Well, we'll know for next time.
Yeah. Did somebody just take it down after posting?
Yeah. Don't be shy, people.
I could have sworn somebody said.
Abs had posted.
Abs, what have you
Yeah.
done?
Why did he remove it? And it was pretty damn good too. I mean, it was lacking the hair, but otherwise it was really good.
I like how we both have awful mouses with the really loud scroll wheel.
Oops, guilty.
It
Oh,
does
here we
Abs.
go. Abs is back again.
It's coming out really well, Abs. I like it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Again, I like how that personality in the eyes is visible, like the general the personality of a character, because like that's one of the things that is very important in my opinion, especially if you want to do creative work afterwards, is to get that sense of a character through your art, because like it's very easy to get good at one face and then giving everyone the same face. So noticing these small details and then putting them into your like memory to use for later is like very very valuable.
I definitely think so. I think the placements are perfectly fine. One thing that you might find that's better for speed. Also, Valkyrian, good night, man. Thanks so much for stopping by. I really appreciate you. But in general, for digital, remember that you can be a lot more like crazier than you can be in traditional. So don't be afraid of just making these crazy strokes and then reducing them. For example, like a lot of my strokes on the side of my face is they're just single strokes that I then erase from, so I keep that single stroke kind of feel to it, so the flow is retained, as opposed to kind of hunting and pecking small individual strokes to fill out a shape. So you can afford to be a lot more non-specific when you're painting it digitally, and then fix it moving on, because everything is perfectly retained, right? It's very non-destructive. So you can afford to do that and save a bunch of time. So don't be afraid of like making these general changes and then going forth, almost like you would with like a really tight graphite drawing. Not even graphite, like charcoal. Like charcoal, but one that you can undo. Habits, I know, right? So you'll break it up, it's fine. But I think it's a great start. I really encourage you to finish it. It's going to be fantastic.
It's very important to be aware of your own habits, because that's how you can break them.
Yeah, Abs is very new to digital. I think this might be his third or fourth digital piece, but he's got a solid background for traditional. So yeah, I think doing quick little paintings as well is a good indication of exactly where you're spending your time on as well. So
And trust me, like within, at least it took me around 2 weeks, and then I was completely comfortable with digital. Like it was a bit weird at first, but yeah, I got into it really fast. So I think it's gonna be the same for you.
hell yeah,
Okay, so that was fun.
that was fun. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Alright, so one last time, guys. If you did enjoy Angievir's work today, this is piece number 2 from her, and that is piece number 1 up there. And if you enjoyed the commentary today, make sure to give her a big ol' follow. If you guys have been lurking in my stream and just listening in, be sure to go follow her. Go follow her and check her workout. She's going to be streaming a little bit longer, as am I. I'll be doing one more study, and she's going to be taking what she learned from this study and putting it into a full piece, I believe. Is that what's going to happen?
Sort of. I'm going to make more like thumbs, small sketches of different characters. Not it's just like one of the character types that I was kind of had in mind. I'm probably gonna make like some edgy rogue character out of her or something, like a little bit of D&D-ish vibe to it. But yeah,
That
not
sounds awesome.
like I'm not entirely like certain exactly what, because that's what I find out as I draw. And if anyone in my stream don't know Indian abroad, then please follow this link, and you can see all the awesome stuff that he does, and many of these studies. Oh yes, that cat. Oh man, I love it so much.
Oh,
It's
Canvas.
my spirit. This cat is my spirit animal.
I think it's swiftly becoming mine as well. I think Canvas is supposed to. Let's give one little gander at what he did.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
It's a secret.
Oh wow, that's like super expressive.
Jesus Christ, Canvas, nice stuff.
You know, like there's two ways to comment on this. From the just purely artistic perspective, I love it. It's super expressive and like crazy minimalistic. If you want to be a painter that's accurate, then it would be a completely different kind of critique.
No, I think right now what Canvas is doing, what he's been doing for the last while, is he's really experimenting with like, I think, methods of expression. So I guess what he does with every study right now is he thinks about like a way of painting, and that's what he's learning more than the actual study itself.
But that's awesome. Like I think you would fit in fine arts so perfectly. I don't know what your goal is, like what your like where you're aiming, but the way you paint and like the way you sketch, like this is like perfect for fine arts. Like just finding that that aesthetic and like the rest doesn't really even matter so much. But you're also good at painting, so you can go far with it.
Yeah, just having that flexibility in your approaches is so strong. Like Mullins always says, like having multiple naturalistic slash semi-naturalistic ways of rendering and coming to a final image is important because then you have the liberty of choosing how you want to approach a painting, right? Because what happens if you wanted to draw this medieval setting that had paintings on the wall, right, for concept art? Well, then this could be the painting on the wall because this looks like a painting, right? And sometimes that's very difficult to do because if you draw a painting within a painting, then the amount of complication kind of skyrockets because you want to make something look not real in something that isn't real. So that kind of thing. So it always has applications.
You have to learn the rules to break them, basically.
Exactly. So yeah, it's really cool.
Okay, but I'm gonna get to my own stuff because I don't have too much stream time left.
Off you go, Angela.
Yeah, finish the part. So thanks again for well to you, James, for
Yeah, it was a
keeping
lot of fun.
company. This was very fun, and thank you for anyone else who might have taken a peek or kept company. So see everyone around and have a nice day.
See you, Angela. Thank you. Well, that was a lot of fun. So are the people that were planning to do the study still in here? Because I would love to raid Angevir. But if you're people in here that are still itching to get that study in, I think Dot said they wanted to, I think a couple of people said they wanted to. I still need to do a study on creatures. So I have to do the study sometime today, so I can do it right now if you guys like. So I'll leave it up to you. The blocky shapes expand the form a bit. Other than that, wait, the blocky shapes expand the forms a bit, but other than that, take care. I feel like the punctuation almost defeats that sentence right there.
I can't believe you've done this.
Jack, thanks for the follow, man. Appreciate you. You've been hanging out for a while. Thanks, dude. Okay, so let's do a quick little study because we've been rolling out on those 45s. We're rolling on the street with our 4-5s. Let's do one more. So I need to do some creature studies. I need to do some creature bashing later today. A bunch of photo bashing. So we'll do one more painting because I need to study this. Let's quickly find where that is. It's in one of my mood boards. Read the previous comment. My proportions should be accurate despite looseness. The blocky shapes expand the forms a bit, but other than that, yeah, fair enough. Now I get it. So the blocky shapes are good to show your form, but you would prefer to have the proportions be a little bit more accurate. This is oftentimes the issue when painting something with a notion of being abstract, because until you find that good mediocre center, it sometimes can be very difficult to arrive at that point where it looks good and it draws from both categories decently. So I'll give you guys some choices. Dude, how good is Pokeri? Holy shit, she's such a good artist. But I have this boy over here. I have two of this boy. So he's a good boy right here. He's got a little cap on. We can paint this dude. I'm just pulling from my mood board here. We have a few of these because my main character is gonna have this dog. And he's going to be such a good dog. He's also going to be based on a Whippet. So I have a bunch of Whippet references in here. And they're such good doggies. Let's paint this one over here. I think this one would be a great painting to finish up stuff with. Very, very simple stuff. Let's do it. I've made the decision for you, chat. No longer will you control me. It is I that controls you now. Okay, I'll make this available to you on the Discord in 2 seconds. And then we can begin. But thanks for painting along with the guys today, and thanks for hanging out. It has been fantastic. If you guys are wondering what we've been doing recently in the Discord, we've been doing studies, same as always, all of us participating, all of us working as hard as we can. But on the side, we have been doing a bunch of original work based on our studies, which has been fantastic. It's been really cool to see everybody sort of giving their own crack at it, because while studies are great, while they're very important, it's also super important to be able to paint something from not just memory, but paint something using the knowledge that we gain. That's the whole point of this, right? Because we don't want to be doing studies for the rest of our lives. We actually want to be using the knowledge we gain into our own pieces. Okay, the reference is on the Discord right now. So for example, this is something that I did. I finished this earlier today. Well, finish being a strong word, but I think this looks kind of decent. And I've been really, really trying to push my ability to do these paintings from imagination. So this was a study. This was a study we did in 30 minutes, 32 minutes. And this is my design that I silhouetted out. And we made a full painting out of the information we got from both. And I think the painting is pretty decent, actually. So I can give you comparisons. I can show you exactly where I've been at, because this is a new thing for me. I've been learning it on stream along with you guys. So my first study was kind of so this was my first painting from imagination based on a study, and it was kind of not okay. And then ever since then I've been getting slowly better, and then better and better. And people in the stream are already so crazy. Like, this is Angevir's work. I was just streaming with her. How crazy is her work? So good. She based that on this study over here. So it's been a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying that. I strongly recommend, if you guys aren't beginners, if you're used to painting for a decent amount already, do try and attempt this, because it's going to be a great transition to the next big step in your art journey. And hopefully it is my transition as well. Okay, enough talk about these long, grandiose ideas. Let's paint the dog, because we're here to paint this dog. Let's quickly get everything set into motion with the cropping of the canvas, make everything suitably sized. This was a really fun one. I like painting people, I like painting women. Particularly because I was so bad at it when I was younger. I just could not draw women for the life of me, and now it's somewhat okay. It's been a year of painting just this for every single day, and it's been quite an interesting adventure. Okay, so I'm going to just get rid of this real quickly. The timer is set for 45 minutes. It's a dog, so it's not going to take us that long. Let us begin in 3, 2, 1, and we go. 45 minutes on the clock. The first thing that we do when you paint drawings like this is you want to capture a little bit of that notion of that background in some measure of abstractness, because we don't want to be painting it too specific. But what are we looking for when we do this? What are we trying to really do or accomplish at this stage? But what we're trying to do is we're trying to set that background in a way that makes sense, that allows our piece to kind of flourish in the same manner that it flourishes in our reference, right? Because the subject on a piece is moderately important, right? It's somewhat important because it's a subject, of course, it's going to carry some amount of weight. But you have to realize that so much of a painting is reliant on the idea of what the painting is set against, okay? So the context really, really matters. This is indeed Krita. It is Krita, free program. It's free for you to try, experiment around. I recommend it. I think it's a great program. Very, very, very good. And for it being free, it's a steal. So just trying to get that basic abstract quality of the background, which means I'm trying to just generally match those colors. And of course, more importantly, always more importantly, match those values. Those values are going to be critically important for our piece to work. Because if your values don't work, then this piece is not going to look realistic. One of the cornerstones of realism is those values and shapes. So it makes something look realistic. So we've got to fix those values, we've got to adjust those values, make sure everything fits properly. And then we'll be able to render this realistically. So if this wasn't painted in realism, if we were going to do this in a much more abstract manner, then I would just hone in on those shapes most likely, because very seldom in any sort of naturalistic way of painting are the shapes not an important thing. Shapes are usually the most important thing in most styles. Just so happens that in realism we also do use the value very strongly to kind of represent what we want to show. Because the way that you represent something in realism is you say, okay, well, this is how the light interacts with my surface, and therefore this is what you're seeing right now. That's how it presents it. But of course, it's not the only way of drawing, not the only way of painting. And I think that's important to know, because what happens if you get tired of realism? What happens if the thing that you're drawing doesn't really work that well in realism? Then you got to be a bit concerned about it, right? Because there do exist certain topics that don't look as good, and then you got to sort of widen into different areas to try and make things make sense. For example, we can also draw in certain areas and make it semi-realistic to a certain extent, or we can make it a bit more impressionistic by drawing from other elements of painting. For example, we can draw from the abstract realm of painting a little bit. When we choose some of our colors, we can draw a little bit on that abstract area. We can also, let me just draw a quick little block in, because some of the shapes are a little bit weird. And not to mention, we can also draw from postmodernism. You guys familiar with postmodernism? Postmodernism is really cool. It's excellent for bar trivia, but postmodernism is pointillism. So the Suros are all postmodernistic art, and the pointillism it's first of all, it's awesome to look at. It's such a fun little painting style. It is painstaking, but it is very fun, and I do think it's awesome to look at. But the cool thing about the Suro is that the Suros are the postmodernistic pointillistic pieces, the pointillism pieces. They do something called optical mixing, which I think is fantastic, that I've recently been informed about via Nathan Fawkes' schoolism class. And it's so cool, optical mixing. So Monet uses it a lot, Suro obviously uses it a lot. And the idea is that when you want to paint a gray into your picture, when you want to paint the idea of a gray, what you instead do is you paint two complementary colors that are very desaturated and you paint them next to each other. So what happens is when you're all the way zoomed in, you can see the colors quite distinctly. But however, when you're not zoomed in, when you're completely zoomed out,
Oh,
in that sense,
I can't believe you've done this.
it looks like a gray and it's fantastic. I'll show you exactly what I mean right now, shall I? So take this gray for example, right? I can permeate through this gray if I wanted to, just like this. So I can permeate through this gray by alternating these yellow and purple bands. And what ultimately happens, and I'm going to tone this down a little bit because I want it to be not as impactful, but I can just alternate these bands here with some quick little painting marks. And while this might look very distinct, when I zoom up this close, it might look super distinct. When I'm all the way back here, it's still basically a gray. It still reads as a gray, because if I blur my eyes, it's still very much a gray. And that's so important. It's such a powerful tool right there, because what that means is that you never have to be stuck with a weird gray on your canvas ever again. You can really start winding into these crazy, like complex, optically mixed grays. And that's so cool. It's such a cool idea. Second breakfast? What about second breakfast? Thank you for the follow, I appreciate you. That's why I showed you the Jamie Jones image. Yeah, I remember the Jamie Jones image, it's cool. But yeah, what a cool idea, what a cool concept. I don't know how they figured it out, but I guess it's just physics or some shit, right? I don't know, I shouldn't be dismissive of engineering because I have a degree in it, but I'm sure somebody figured it out somewhere, but I'm glad that I know about it, because how cool is that? How cool is that we can draw from that idea? I don't know where I'm going to put that in, but I know that the next time I use gray somewhere, I can think, okay, well I need more colors in this drawing. Let's optically mix the gray instead of just painting it directly. How cool of an idea is that? Like having that luxury of changing things up. I almost said a bad word there. I almost said shit. Changing stuff up. It's so good. It's such a crazy, appealing idea to me. It's having the flexibility while painting is so fun. Because there's so many ways of arriving at a conclusion, right? Let's actually scale this down a little bit more. Hide your eyes if you're a traditional artist, because I'm doing some heavy cheating right now with the resizing. But it's so cool that there's so many ways of achieving that final conclusion of the piece. Okay, so that's all I'm going to do for my block in, because we don't have to be complicated here. Why gotta make things so complicated? A great lady said that, and her name was Avril Lavigne. Let's keep it simple. Close one, I know, right? Narrowly avoided that bullet right there. Let's draw this little Mickey Mouse hat real quickly. This is a whippet, by the way. My goodness, did you see how I fucked up that selection tool? How bad does that look? Okay, let's just fix this real quick. We can just redo it, it's fine. So I want to mask this out with selection. If you guys see the selection and think, oh, this dude doesn't know how to paint, you're right. But it does make painting easier by just masking things off, because I want to do crazy shit. I want to do a bunch of abstraction in my painting. And abstraction is good, but it can confine the abstraction to a certain area. So why did I do what I just did? The reason is because I want to have this area on the piece that I can start playing around with without disrupting my overall read. So I spent some time to do a slight little block in. I'm not saying this is 100% accurate, but now that everything is confined to that particular mask, I can go absolutely batshit insane with my selection of my colors. And this is what I want to do. It's exactly what I want to try and do right now, because I want to swatch on my canvas right now. Let's make this lovely, oh Jesus Christ, what's happening? This lovely deep red over there on one side, and then we can pick a lovely little desat yellowish red for the other side. We'll start here. See, that looks a bit sickly, right? So we can add a bit more red in there and get this value. That's kind of cool. Let's go with that. Just get that separation of light and dark. When I was referring to my proportions earlier, I meant I focused on getting them accurate before the drawing. Okay, well, I think you might need to either kind of double down, figure out where your inclinations are, because it did tend to invite a little bit more towards that kind of abstracty bendy style that you want to be a little bit careful about. So yeah, just consider strongly about your about the way that you map your proportions out initially. Maybe spend a little bit more time on it, or have stronger indications of it, or just be more basic with it. Like, that's also a thing, right? Because you don't have to be super specific, but as long as you capture enough of the proportions for it to not really tell the viewer that, oh wait a second, something's off here, then you're good. You want to get that strong separation of light and dark. I don't want to be painting these with grays. Look off because I never got to put time into cleaning it up. Okay, fair enough. It's a timing issue. That's perfectly fine. Let's bring this up to more of a dark green, because I want to have that separation of light and dark here. That's the most important thing. I don't care too much about exactly what's on this drawing, but I do care about the separation of light and dark, because that's going to tell me, that's going to give me my solid read. And I want this read. This read's going to make or break my painting. Speaking of time, is this 45? Yes indeed, sir. This is a 45. One of them classic Indian abroad 45ers right here. So the reed's gonna be the most important thing for me in this painting. So I care about it so much that this is the first thing that I put on my painting. I don't care about the proportions all that much right now. I'll fix the proportions later on, but what I care about is the reed. Obviously I should care about the proportions because the reed's part of the proportion. But it's fine. I know it's roughly correct, so I can just do this much with some degree of confidence that my strokes are not going to be wasted. Which is actually a valid thing, right? You gotta be careful about this. Because wasted strokes is a great way of wasting time on a drawing. So sometimes, and I notice this very often in my older work, not so much recently, but in my older work, I've seen quite often that a lot of my time was burned basically by sticking way too strongly with things that weren't accurate, and then I have to then erase a bunch of things, and then go back, and then repaint a bunch of things, which is just a problematic thing in general. You don't want to be doing that. Morbid, right on time with the raid. With the raid call. How's it going, buddy? Did you sleep well? Do you have work today? How you doing, friend? Good to see you. We're painting this little boy in the morning, but it's so good to see my little boy, aka Mr. Morbid Chaos, also a streamer. Go check his work out. He's a great artist. He just woke up. Yeah, Pam rated me, Pokery rated me. Like, we've had some pretty big raids in here. We also just finished a dual stream with Angevir Art, who is a buddy of mine, a fellow artist, fellow streamer. I met her on my stream, and she's just a blast to hang out with. Hopefully you guys enjoy that, by the way. I know that we've been dual streaming with Bonnie for a while, so you might be a bit used to her, but I really had a good time with Angevir as well. I thought it was a fantastic stream. I know I was lurking. Well, look at you. My god. She's got a strong voice, I know. She's pretty cool. She is pretty cool. I really like her. So all I care about right now is that strong separation of light and dark, you see? That's all I'm going for right now. I don't care about the detail. The detail I can put on top of this if I wanted to. But the thing is, if I don't have the separation, nothing's going to really read the way that I wanted to. So I'm strongly considering putting the detail in at a later point. Just get that abstract notion of it done first and foremost. And by abstract notion, I mean that fundamental, essential notion of a piece, which is simply strong separation of light and dark. How am I getting the values? Mostly eyeballing them. And you see me doing a lot of testing. I go back and forth sometimes. And also you see me painting with a very strong brush. So I'm not painting with like softness, I'm not painting with too much degree of like fur right now, because I know I can get the fur later on. The fur is going to be virtually like 2 or 3 strokes. So what I'm concerning myself most about right now in the piece is just to get that value correctly, to get these nice little these blocks of shape, these blocks of value. And that's my only concern. Once I get that, I can just play with that idea, with the edges of it as freely as I want to. I don't care too much about it, but I need to get these blocks first. That is my concern when doing these paints. So if I don't have these blocks of value properly set, then nothing's gonna look good. No emotes on our channel though. She'll get them. I don't know if she's an affiliate yet. She only just started streaming again, so I have no idea what the situation is. Also realize that when you're putting in strokes, you have to make sure, especially when texture is concerned, that you match the same amount of abstraction, aka the same amount of hard and soft in your drawing. So I can't do this, you see? I can't do this without modifying it because that's way too hard of a stroke. So when I do eventually come upon adding my texture, I want to do so with a brush, or at least with a method that allows me to retain the same amount of softness. See this? That's so much softer. That's so much softer with transition. That's important. Because you don't want to harden things that aren't hard. You don't want to soften things that aren't soft. That's the fundamental idea of maintaining the abstraction. Also, don't pattern things that don't have a pattern, and don't draw a pattern for things that, don't draw random things for things that have no pattern on them. Or that already have a pattern with them. I kind of confuse myself there. So, pattern a pattern, don't pattern, not a pattern. There you go. English is my second language, so do forgive me. But you want to maintain that abstraction. Very solid, strong idea in painting. Maintain abstraction whenever you can. This dude looks absolutely Snoop Dogged, but I think he looks really fun to paint, so I'll be chosen. What a good boy this is. Such a good boy. Okay, so I want this dark to look darker. However, you have to understand that when you want to make a value look more like a value, or more stronger, you can kind of burn the candle off of both edges here. Snoop Dogg, I think so, right? Shake what your mama gave you, misbehave you. But you can make this look dark in two ways. So you can either paint it darker, or you can go a lighter on the sides. It's like this. And that makes it look darker, because contrast, right? It's the name of the game right now.
Oh, fuck. I can't believe you've done this.
Hey, thanks for the follow, Geta. Appreciate you, my friend. Alright, so let's get this overall idea. So think about selection tool. The selection tool is a powerful, powerful tool. You must toss it into the fire, you must destroy it, because the ring will corrupt you, and so will the selection tool. So you gotta be careful when you use it, because them hard edges, those hard edges will make or break you in a piece. So you gotta be careful. Like wives teaching how to use tools, I like it. Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is a very educational stream, at least I try to make it so. So don't just blankly use selection, because you end up with this. And you see how sharp that is? That is microscopic selection tool sharp. At a pixel level, it's sharp. And that's a problem, because when things are that sharp, immediately when you look at this painting, your eyes go right there. But I don't want the eyes to go there, I want it to go here. So we gotta be sure that if you use selection tool, you really clamp down on it a little bit. So don't stick with the selection tool edge, paint over it at least once or twice. Sort of cut the effect of it just a little bit more, because otherwise you're gonna be stuck with something looking extremely hard and then drawing attention when it shouldn't. So we don't want to be drawing attention here, we want to be drawing attention away. And you can really play around with this, by the way, because remember, we're drawing a painting, we're not drawing a photograph. So when you're doing a painting, you can go crazy with shit and it'll still work. Like, let's give an example of that. Let's go crazy with this. Let's get really loose with it, because I like getting loose with the studies. Would feathering selection help? It definitely would. Unfortunately, I have not yet figured out the feathering selections for Krita, but it's absolutely a good point to make. Feathering would really, really help. But the feathering selection on Krita are so weird, I gotta admit. I much prefer the feathering in Photoshop. But hey, what can you do? Free program, right? You can't complain too much. But yeah, that's a great point to make, and a valid one. 100% a valid one. Let's draw some little squares here, because I want some basis. Realize that these squares aren't going to be the owners of my life for too long, but I want to have some idea right there. I want to have some little bit of a pattern right there, because on top of that I can start layering stuff on there. It'll work, but I have to have some basis, right? I want to have some sort of abstract basis, and that's going to be my basis right there for that area. How cool is the shadow right there? Look at that redness. Does anybody else see redness? I see a bit of redness. It's kind of cool. Let's paint that in. So remember, you don't have to be perfect with your colors. Colors are actually the most forgiving part of all drawings, especially when drawing something realistically, because we don't tend to really care too much about the colors as long as we maintain the temperature. If you guys are new to art and you're wondering what temperature is in the context of painting, temperature implies, or rather indicates, the warm-cool of your piece. So warm-cool meaning how orange, yellow, green, red it is, as opposed to how blue, purple, you know, bluish green it is. Which is, of course, if you guys know color theory, you're immediately going to say, oh, wait a second, temperature is relative, and you're right. But just a simplified way of looking at it. Temperature is indeed relative. It's a bit of a higher level concept, I think, though. I'm always concerned about when I give information or give art advice. Not that I'm an expert at anything. I barely know this stuff to start out with, but it's important to understand, like, what's the most effective thing. Have you ever tried to teach somebody? And it's an interesting situation, because you can tell somebody the most optimized way of learning, the most optimized way of improving, but that might necessarily not be the best piece of advice you can give. You guys ever experienced that? Like, for example, when somebody's going to the gym, for example, if you ever train somebody to go to the gym, like, let's say a standard powerlifting program, right? So the first thing you say, at least based on my experience of training people, is don't ever say, get on 5x5, you know, start fixing your diet, start coming to the gym 5 times a week rather, you know, make sure you do this and this and this while you're lifting. I think the most effective thing I've found personally is just make sure they're coming to the gym at least like 3 times a week rather. I keep getting that wrong. I think that's the most important thing, and then we can work our way up from there. Like, there's this bare minimum requirement that is so important that I think people sometimes overlook. It's like, what's the best way of learning how to draw? Well, there are a bunch of microscopic ways, right? There are a bunch of microscopic things that are important, a bunch of minutiae, but what's most important to get better at drawing? Well, it's drawing. You gotta draw more. By default, it's on the menu, select feather selection, or Shift F6. I will try that out, I'm gonna write that down somewhere. I'll quickly do that. Pause the timer real quick. If you look at the Sonic trailer, you will see that his green eyes have a different temperature than the green in the background. Yeah, I've actually seen that. I know exactly what you're talking about because there was a critique given by the Corridor Digital guys, right? And that's based on camera views. So when you want to mimic a camera, that's how it goes. Because the camera will only have a very specific value if it's set for a particular exposure. So yeah, I've seen that video. I think those are great tools that an artist can use. Is that Wild Boy Tom? What's going on? How's it going, Tom? Good to see you. You want to see what we've been doing today? I'll show you. 2 seconds. Where on earth? Where's my stuff? Look at my paintings, Tom. Look at them. I painted this one in 45 minutes. That's our first painting of the day. And we painted this one. This is our second painting of the day. Also 45 minutes. I hope you like. The wrong with that kind of advice, is even if it's true, it becomes your opinion, and it's hard sometimes to get other opinions. Fair enough, yeah, but I think some things are just objective truths, right? Like going to the gym more is better. Like if you're not going to the gym, go to the gym. That kind of stuff. Hey, thanks. We were doing this with Angevir art, by the way. If you're not familiar with Angevir, go follow her, Tom. She's a sick artist. I think she's still streaming right now. But I was painting along with her, and she's such a. Oh, that's a bot right there. Let's just go bam, and you're gone. Look at how quick this man is. You can't catch these hands. I'm fast as fuck, boy. Follow Tom G, by the way. Tom G is a premier artist on Twitch TV. He's one of Twitch royalty right there. You can't say creative without spelling Tom G. Check him out. Also go follow my lovely dual stream partner right there, Mr. Angevir Art. We dual streamed with her earlier. She's so fucking quick. She runs circles around me. Alright, let's continue with the study because you guys are painting this for time as well. 18 minutes off on the clock. Easy peasy. Let's keep going. I'm surprised you're on in this hour. Yeah, we did an early stream today because Angevir streams in the morning, and she said, "Hey, let's do a deal stream together. Why don't you wake up at 4 hours before you usually do?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay, fine. I really want to paint with you, so it's okay. I'll do that." And I don't regret it because I've had such a productive day already. Like I finished this painting over here because I needed to finish this. You can call it finished, but then there's a big it's a finished painting, but there's a big question mark on what the fuck is happening here. But this is what I wanted to finish. I just want to render this a bit more. That's your Indiana Broad original piece right there. Original flavor. I'm gonna see more of that real soon. Thanks, Glow. I appreciate you, buddy. Yo, can we set this goddamn eye in real quick? How do you set the eye? How do you paint quickly? You might ask. Well, here's how you paint quickly. Here's a trick, right? You take everything you know about painting and you paint something. Now, for real though, if you want to get quicker, don't hang up on the details. Just paint the most basic idea of what you want to paint or what you want to portray, and you just stick with it. Just paint vague and then paint specific, because otherwise, the most amount of bleeding that you have in any kind of painting is the bleeding that you have when trying to make things look perfect. So try to capture things in multiple strokes as opposed to capture things in these kind of strokes. Capture things in these kind of strokes. So paint large. Go from general to specific. There's nothing else beyond that. And realize where to spend your time. Because am I really concerned about making that eye look perfect? No, because if I spend way too much time there, I'm gonna bleed time. So rather, get those biggest forms out. How do you know what the biggest forms are when painting? Well, just blur your eyes. Blur your eyes and then look. Look and see all the beauty in front of you. And remember that that's really what's important. So that eye can have any amount of finish on it and it's going to look fine. I just realized that you're doing this all with a mouse. No, this is not a this isn't a mouse. This is it's a very, very expensive tablet. But it's not very expensive. Expensive for me. My beautiful, lovely stream bought me this tablet. It's a Huion Canvas Pro 20. And it's been afforded by the incredible people that are in the chat. So God bless you guys. Without you, I'd be nobody. It still kind of boggles my mind that we actually made the donation goal. But yeah, paint large. That's the secret right there. Paint large and figure out what the essential elements are. Once you figure out what's essential to a piece, then you'll be able to paint over it so quickly, because you know exactly what you need to kind of get to that end goal. Those clicking are so misleading. Yeah, I tend to toss my my pen around my canvas. I just go returning for the 2019. Yeah, I got the 2019 model. It's fantastic. So good. The one issue with it is it's so clumberingly, just so massive that I have to change my entire desk setup to be able to fit the tablet in there, which is kind of annoying, not gonna lie. But I mean, how can I be mad about it? Because it's just so cool. Just having this much space is so cool. Because I went from painting with a very small tablet with a very small monitor to painting with this giant ass display, and it's just, I don't know, it just feels so goddamn good. Have you thought of using a monitor arm? I thought about it, but then money. That's the thing, right? I gotta pay for college. But I have thought about it, yeah. Who knows? I might get one. I might get one secondhand because I'm going back home to India for the holidays. Not too far from now, so I might really get one when I go back, because I might get one for cheap back home. Another idea for getting faster with painting is the idea of reuse. Reuse is a fantastic tool. A lot of people will be very strong proponents to it, like James Gurney, for example. James Gurney is a big proponent of reuse. What that basically means is, if you want to draw quicker, a lot of the time is bled by you going to your color picker, going to your color selector, or just thinking about what value you're going to put in particular places. But you can realize that you can paint a lot more with a lot less if you just think about reuse very, very often. For example, I can take the value over there that I have on the cheek, and I can desaturate ever so slightly and paint it right here. I can get the value for the nose immediately. So you can make these decisions actively, and while you're not going to get the perfect color, you don't need the perfect color if you're going to paint a drawing. You don't need perfect colors to paint anything. Just as long as you get the temperature right, you're fine. You're good. So that reuse is so important. So once you have something down, a good exercise to think about is, think about every single place you can use that color. Think about every single place you can use that value. And that'll really save you a shit ton of time, because you're going to be sampling less, you're going to be thinking less, you're going to be painting more. And these are important things, because what's the point of painting quickly? What is the point? Isn't painting supposed to be fun and relaxing? Well, yes, it's true. But realize that if your goal at any point in art is improvement, just being able to put more work out there quicker means that you're going to improve faster, because you're going to be able to outwork a lot of people in terms of sheer volume. Because remember, painting quickly doesn't mean you're sacrificing quality, it just means you're getting an output quicker. There's a very cool thing happening here, which is called it's a lost edge near the nose. So we can just lose that edge completely, and I'm completely fine with just losing it. So we'll just do it this way. I can't see that side of the nose right there, not completely anyway. So I can do something cool right there. One of the cornerstones of realism, you have to understand, is the idea of don't overstate, right? Don't overstate things, which means that it's not a strong distinction on your reference. Don't overstate on your canvas. So don't create edges that don't exist. Don't worry about edges that don't exist. Just don't paint them. And it's a surprisingly hard thing to learn, because it took me a while to figure out why this even works. Because I was like, wait a second, if there's a nose, then I have to draw a strong shadow near the nose. I just have to. But you don't have to. And it took my dumbass a while to figure that out. But hopefully you will know better if you're still wondering about this idea. It's really important. You picked yours for $26 US. That's not too bad. 26 I can afford. Hello, Mr. Highlight. What are you doing today? Let's get you with a little bit of something cracking. Jump into the study, man. We got 20 minutes left. It's a lot of time. You can get me a solid line work in 20 minutes, can't you? Hit me with it. I like that value, cool. There we go. And it also adds a bunch of painterliness to your drawing, right? Because painterliness is a thing. It's a thing that's important to understand. Like, what makes something look like a traditional piece of work? right? What is the foundation of those pieces? And these lost edges, these soft edges, for example, the strong notion towards value, these are all things that really add towards the painterliness of your drawing. Did you get hosted by any chance? Yeah, we got hosted by a few people. We got hosted by Pokeri, we got hosted by Pam. So the numbers might be a little bit up, but we are very gracious of it. Thank you guys so much again. Go follow Pokeri, go follow Pam. Thank you for the very, very gracious hosts. I think they're both asleep right now, but we are very thankful. No, I'm getting lost in the sauce. Don't ever get lost in the sauce, boys. Don't get lost in that detail. The detail is not going to save you in a piece. If a piece looks bad without detail, it's not going to look good with detail. I think that's a very important thing to note. As it turns out, the foundational thing when it comes to any drawing is never ever in that detail. In fact, in realism in general, talking about realism as a style, we don't care about the detail in realism, because in reality we don't see that much detail to begin with, right? Consider your perception of the things around you. Consider what you see out in front of you. What do you really see? Like, you perceive a bunch of things, right? You perceive a bunch of things, but what do you really see? It turns out not that much, because the cone of vision is a thing. Focus is a thing. So what you actually see is just a very, very small amount of specific information about your surroundings, and beyond that is a bunch of non-specific information, right? A bunch of vague notions. That's really what reality is. So it's important then. It's important to understand that, wait a second, I'm not going to paint everything. I'm not going to paint everything with a strong amount, especially, I mean, you can paint stuff and it'll look good, as there's nothing wrong with that, but painting things realistically, then you got to think about, well, what makes something look realistic? And it turns out it's the exact opposite, so counterintuitive to what you think, because it doesn't have to be in the detail. Detail is good, and detail should be used, but not everywhere, because that's not how you perceive reality. Which is it's so incredibly like fun of an idea to me, because I'm somebody that I like putting detail in, but I don't like doing this, you know? I hate this thing. I really do not like doing that. Like, that's a part of art, by the way. Personally, it's a mistake to have my sort of like hatred towards that, because it's not healthy. Because that's a big part of what makes art. But I have a personal dislike towards like going in there with a hyper specific needle and painting. But that's important. Don't let my own personal predilections influence you, because it's important. It's an important part of art. But realize that you don't have to do that all that much less than you think. I want to make Matrix jokes, but 45 minutes. Get with the painting, man. Keep working. Keep pushing. So I have a good-looking dog in 30 already. He's a handsome boy. Hey, did you see me other streams? Yeah, I saw you yesterday and the day before. Thanks for supporting our friends here. I do appreciate you. I saw you in a few other streams. Ooh, we gotta put a dark in there. So scary, so spooky. Don't worry about it. Just paint the dark in. You can care about fixing it later. We go boom. Dark. It's done. Learning to get disconnected with your pieces is such a hard thing to do, man. It's such a difficult thing to do. I'm still not good at it. I get so attached to my work sometimes. Which is funny, because I'm somebody that actively talks shit about their own work. I'm like, God damn, have you seen my latest painting? It's garbage. But then at the same time, I'm so attached to certain ideas. And I feel like unless you start designing, you guys don't... I think it's hard to really figure out how attached you are until you start trying to make your own original work. Because my goodness, I stick to such horrible designs that I'm trying to figure out like what I want to paint. And it's remarkable just how attached you can get. But yeah, being detached is a strong idea. If you want to be a stronger artist, don't ever feel too obligated to stick along with your initial first best guess. Let's do a bit of proportional fixes right now. Get that neck looking nice and sausagey. How are you going to do the dog fur texture? So I'm going to use a bunch of rake brushes to kind of break apart the edge. I'm going to soften some parts up. What the idea is, I can show you. Let's actually start putting that in. So I'll be using this little brush. If you guys are using Krita and painting along with me, 3 Blocks Hairy, part of the concept and illustration pack, is a fantastic brush to get lovely soft striated edges. So these kind of ideas. This just always looks good. Of course, you can do this with a few more methods. For example, I can paint this in like this, for example, because I want a lighter value right there. I need a lighter value. Lighter, what is that, yellowish or reddish? Something like that, maybe. Because you realize with a lot of texture, you don't need that much. You don't need that much to make it look like texture. Just those edges are all you have to attend to, really. Just those edges are all that's important. And once you get those edges kind of sorted, you're good to go. So painting large blocks of value, right? And then just minorly give some hint towards the viewer to say, listen, man, you're looking at fur right now, so here's a little bit of fur, and then make up the rest in your mind. And you'll be really surprised at how easy that is. Because this whole complete the painting game, like here's the painting, complete in your head, you'll be surprised how much you can push that. Because the brain is really good at recreating stuff. You know the concept of pareidolia, where you see things that aren't really there in certain patterns? Well, you can use that kind of idea to your benefit in art in general, because if you can give enough information that something is actually there, the brain will just complete the rest of it. Great artists like Richard Schmidt will sometimes say that a great painting is one that makes the viewer do some of the work. Which means you don't paint everything, you paint some of the things, but the viewer does most of the things in terms of the heavy lifting, in terms of some of the detail, which is pretty crazy of an idea, right? How insane is that? Are you telling me that to be a good artist, you should not draw? You should like make the viewer draw? Well, not really, but it's a really interesting concept to play with. The idea of not putting everything, the idea of putting just enough. And that's a very attractive idea for a lot of artists, including myself. What that means is you can get away with so much more with so much less. And that's so attractive of a concept. I'm going to make the active decision here to paint the areas near the face with a stronger, much more sharper brush. So this is what it looks like right now. So much sharper, right, than what I was just using. And it's important to do that because I want to add much more sharpness, much more interest towards the face. And remember, in the whole realm of trying to dictate interest on a canvas is dictated by the amount of contrast, the density of contrast in a particular area, and having strongly contrasted edges will immediately direct the viewer's focus over there. It'll be like, wait a second, the entire drawing is made up of these bunch of soft transition, and suddenly in one of these areas in your canvas, you have this incredible area of incredible light but harsh texture. And be like, oh, I gotta look there first because that's the area of difference. And that's the key term here, area of difference, the contrasting area. And contrast doesn't necessarily have to mean just the idea of painting it with light against dark. It just means difference, right? So painting hard against soft, painting complementary colors, painting large against small, right? These are all things that are contrasting, all things that have to be accounted for. When you're making those slight little changes, for example, I had to add this pink over here, to save you a bunch of time, just sample the color that was already there, and if you paint like me and you fix the value first, the value is already going to be there. So you just have to pick the color right after. And it's much easier of a job to do. Otherwise, you got to start hunting for value, and that's not fun right now. We want to be painting. We want to have some fun with it. Also, since we're painting an animal, I like putting grays into my animals because grays just look cool. So I might put some more grays in this guy because grays are just fun. Don't ever be afraid of putting grays in your paintings, by the way. You'll be using a lot more grays. I feel like I use so many more grays in my paintings from imagination because they're just so cool to look at. Because what a gray does is that if you paint a gray on a temperature, it'll complement that temperature. So paint a gray on a warm, it'll cool it down. Paint a gray on a cool, it'll warm it up. So it creates that natural kind of balance in temperature, which is just so attractive to look at. We got 5 minutes left. I'm sorry, we got 10 minutes left. Math, my goodness. What a fun little painting this was. You see, you don't need that much information over here in these paintings to really give you the look that you're going for. Also, I made a mistake of not opening up the window, so I'm actually painting this in the dark almost. So that's a mistake. I can't see my values perfectly. Because it's so hot these days, I don't like the sun filtering into my room. At the same time, you need to have some amount of light, otherwise the tablet monitor blows out the values. It's not the biggest deal though. You'll be able to complete this just fine. Continuing along here, I can slightly adjust my values if I want to. Kind of like that orange though, I think it looks kind of cool. We can continue. I want to have some notion of this dog actually having fur, so a few of these areas I'm gonna actually use this brush to slightly soften up the edge. Of course, this is still selection hard, you see? So it's gonna attract too much attention, so I'm gonna bring that down a bit more with a soft brush. Setting a bit of that softness, you see? A bit of that poof. Done with brushwork. And we're gonna apply some of these little surface details. I'm gonna go back into the eye in a second, because the eye needs to be attended to slightly. A bunch of little subtleties in there. But for now, I can just clean a few of these areas up, give a bit more information to my viewer. When you're putting in the fur strokes, be a little bit aware of the overall gesture of the fur, because the fur indeed does have a gesture to it, and maintaining that is a pretty strong idea that should be done, because everything curves towards a direction, right? It all curves in a particular fashion, kind of evokes the musculature, evokes the underlying skin, and that should be somewhat accounted for when you're drawing. So don't just paint arbitrary strokes there. Have a bit of a rhyme and reason to what you're doing there. That looks a bit too fake. Let's add a bit more of this in there. Nice, I like that a lot. And also don't be afraid of trying to slightly modify things, because if something isn't punching too hard, just reevaluate it. I will oftentimes take a little bit of a darker value and airbrush it on, and sometimes even just grab a burn tool and then burn it in. Everything for the sake of just getting a stronger image. I can't really tell what that value is in the nose, and one of the best things you can do possibly for your improvement in art is figure out what your inclinations are, figure out what your predilections are, because I have this very, very peculiar thing with color. I can see most color very accurately at this point, but I can't see desaturated red at all. So whenever I can't identify a color, and if I'm really stuck with it, I think, wait a second, if I can't identify it, it's gotta be desat red, and I'm almost 100% right. Which is funny, because I'm basically seeing what I don't see. So knowing yourself is important. Sun Tzu said that, didn't he? What is the Sun Tzu quote about knowing yourself? Know thyself, know thy enemy, know thy battleground, and the battle is won. Who knew he was talking about painting? The Art of War is an interesting book. It's very weirdly written, but then probably a translational issue. Call of Duty. Is that the Call of Duty, the death screen? I'm gonna have a slight indication of a little bit of reflected on this nose. The nose is very matte, okay? So it's not gonna have too much on it. So I can actually get away with just this much and I'll be perfectly fine with it. How cute does this boy look? My goodness. Such a good boy. Gonna add a little bit of texture, which is French for texture, to the mouth, because he has a little bit of a Fresnel light right there. What a Fresnel light is, it's rim light that you can see even in the darks. Right there. You see how I lost that entire side of the mouth right there? I'm not even painted it in. I don't plan to. If you're wondering if I'm like when he's gonna put the side of his mouth, I don't plan to put it in. I think it looks perfectly fine the way it is, and it's good. It's good because I don't need to put in excessive information right there to show it's actually there. I'm gonna put some information over here on the side because they can actually see some of the side of his neck here. So I'll change the color, but I won't change the value because that's just not strongly on the. It's not strong enough for me to justify like separating the two of them. I don't think. And this is a decision that I make as an artist, right? I make the decision, and you can choose not to make the decision. You can say, well, I want it to be strongly defined. You can strongly define it, but I choose not to do it. I think it'll make for a better painting. At this point, I want to do two things. I want to add the little bit of the. Oh, I sounded super Indian there for a second. I want to add a little bit of the whiskers, right? And then after that, we can add a little bit of the eye stuff, and then we're done. The whiskers are a very peculiar thing. If you want to make the whiskers look more painterly, try and select a bright or a dark local value. Don't select an entirely different value for the whiskers. Select something that's already on the painting. What that does is that when it crosses certain areas, it'll blend in. You see that? I select this value, it'll blend in. And that's a very good cheat way of making it look good, because it goes in and out of being visible. That's basically what you want, because whiskers, with the way they turn in light, they go in and out of the highlight. So it's a great way of kind of painting this in. So that's how I do all of my whiskers, basically. It's a great idea. I'm gonna patent it someday. What a cutie. So I've been making notes in my head about the surface texture because I want to be painting a main character in one of my little concept art pieces. I want to be painting him as a whippet-like dragon. So I'm taking some note as to some of the surface things that I'm doing here. Because ultimately that's what the study is for me. The study for me is to try and achieve this good surface quality. I'm happy with the way that was. Also be sure to eliminate lines like this, for example, because I have straight lines from the past coming back to haunt me, so just be sure to clean those up as you paint, because those can kind of kill the overall read sometimes. While it's nice to have these very strong strokes in your painting sometimes, it's still important to remain kind of consistent with your surface texture. So in order to be consistent, I have to make sure that some of those are attended to. I can't have everything be just solid strokes. I'll put a couple more in, a little bit more information towards the eyes here. For example, I can shape this little value over here. This is going to be mostly sampling and repainting. People call this the sculpting phase of drawings. I'm not one of those people, but yeah, it's something you can call it something. Call it whatever you like. Also remember, there's another lost edge over here, right? Because I can just do something like this, where I can extend this shadow in here, and I can extend this eye, and I don't have to distinguish what the difference between the eye and the shadow is. Because in reality, we can't distinguish it over here, right? I mean, what is this? It's like the eye doesn't go into the cap, but yet it still looks fine in the reference, right? So it's important to understand that. Don't abstract, don't draw, don't exaggerate things that are not on the reference. Because if it works without, then it's going to work without. Simple as that. We're in the last couple of minutes in the study. It's going to apply a little bit more surface texture here. I don't want to apply too much blanket light to this whole cap here because I want to keep the focus on the face. I can go ever so slightly higher at this stage. Usually I don't disrupt my value structure, but I can go ever so slightly higher. And maybe a bit more yellowish green, right? Add a couple more marks there. Do with the edges a bit more. We should be good to go then. And also I'm going to address that highlight a bit more, because the highlight needs to show the shape of the eye. It's a very common problem with highlights. You can really flatten an eye out if you don't focus on this a bit more. So I'm just going to follow that little curvature of the eye. Look a little bit better. What a beautiful little highlight that is. Follow that curve. Such a handsome little puppy. I don't want to overstate that eye too much, so might do just this much and then push it up a little bit more. Like that. Maybe slightly soften out those edges a bit more as well. Also, I'm painting at a very low resolution, guys. So if you see pixels, don't get too afraid. Now look, that's 45. That's our study. That was a fun one. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I certainly did. If you did this painting along with me, make sure to post on the Discord. I'll be posting mine momentarily. Just playing around with a couple of things before I do, but I am done. I'm pretty okay with mine. Nice. Hopefully you guys had a good time. Let's put my name on here. That's just the best signature that you've ever seen. It's just 3 letters, then underscore. That was really fun though. And super painterly. That's what I really like saying. I like painterly stuff. It's cool. Should we be autographing ours? Nah. Don't worry about it. I like putting mine. I just like marking my stuff these days because it's on Reddit and everything. Okay, let's name this as 3 because this is the 3rd drawing of today. These are our 3 pieces of today, by the way, guys. A bunch of really cool studies. And this is my little mascot right there. But here's some 3 drawings. We did 2 poppers and 1 beautiful lady. That's a lot of good painting, though. What do you guys think? That's our work today. Cool stuff. I certainly did enjoy that. I will give you guys some time to post on the Discord if you'd like to, if you did this painting along with us. You are more than welcome to post on the Discord. We encourage it. Show me what you've done. Let me post mine real quick. Take a big chug of water. And then we are donezo. I'm glad I was up early. Why are you up so early, my man? Hopefully you got some rest. And I quickly gonna get an image album as well. To upload some of these things, because I gotta put it on the Instagrams later. But yeah, thanks guys so much for stopping by, just listening in and throwing ideas my way. That in itself makes all of this worth it. I'm glad that I got painting in. That's the most important thing for me. Need to get work out there. Otherwise I feel kind of terrible about the day. I'm only up like 20 hours a day and without a real schedule. I just kind of circle through days. Jesus, dude. Gotta be careful. I saw stuff, it might like improve your productivity, but it also can cut it in half sometimes. Just be a little bit careful. There's some fun little paintings right there. I like those. Alright, let's review, because it's review time. I'm going to sleep now. Have a good stream. Norfi, thank you so much for bringing that huge raiding party. I do appreciate you always. And hope to catch you in the next stream. Go follow Norfi, a fellow streamer. And have a good night. Thank you so much for all that you do for me. I so appreciate it. Quick little review here. We got my boy Paulie right there with the study. Not too bad whatsoever. Looking pretty good. I'd be a little bit careful about the overall proportions. Try and get that silhouette out of the way at the very beginning, but overall your values themselves, they look perfectly fine. I feel like I had the exact same proportions as you did, but then I corrected it about midway through the study. So don't be afraid to make that correction. So I think the actual colors and the value separation is good. So good stuff. Great work. I love the cap, by the way. Very, very nicely done on the cap. Here's mine. Very simple. Just a little boy. Just a little boy trying to make it big in the world, but he's having a fun old time. Oops, what am I looking at? Jesus Christ. I forgot the whiskers. Oh, you forgot the most important part. These little whiskies. This reference is so good, you like it? Hey, Abu, dude, sick job. Holy shit. So goddamn good. Let me add you to the study squad real quick, because you deserve it. But boom, you're a member of the study squad. But holy shit, so good, man. So beautiful. Very, very expressive. Great use of texture. Great use of the simplification as well. You didn't exaggerate the separation here. I really like seeing that. Same thing over here. Great eye. What do? Do you traditionally paint? That looks so good. My goodness, that is so beautiful. I love how you interpreted everything here. I love the lack of exaggeration. I think the shapes are quite strong. Colors are quite good. Good stuff, man. Thanks so much for painting along. Really cool job. And yeah, I'm very happy to welcome you into the study squad, which is the squad of people in here. We have a bunch of them in here that paint along with us just about every single day we stream. The canvas in here, oh Jesus, I like that a lot. I think that's really cool. I love these strong impasto kind of strokes that you always put on your paintings. Dude, Bonnie with soaker pants on this one. It looks so fucking, that looks fantastic. Really cool. I mostly drew with ballpoint and in watercolor, a bit in oils. It looks fantastic, Yabu. Thanks so much for painting along. One day I will be in the squad. Why not today? Just post to study and then you can be a member of the squad. Again, join to the Discord, guys. Join up to the Discord if you want to get these references. So the references are all posted right over here. Those are references of today. And we post our original paintings, we post our tutorials, the studies themselves, and also do critiques on the stream very often. So I keep the Discord extremely active. That's where I run everything from. So you're more than welcome to draw along. And that is the end of today's stream, ladies and gentlemen. It has been a pleasure hosting you guys. It's been a huge amount of fun getting all that work done for you, and definitely was fantastic. Was really, really fantastic to get to paint with Angevir earlier today. How's it going? How's it going, John? We just finished these 3 paintings right over here. Bye, I guess. Yeah, you came up a little bit too late. So I've been streaming since 11. But yeah, let's go pay this forward, right? Because we got a bunch of people in here. I think Angevir is still going to be streaming for a while. Let's go hit her up. So you guys haven't rated her. Let's go show her some support, okay? So hopefully she's going to be streaming for a little bit longer. If not, I'll force her to. Okay, let's go rate her. So guys, Angevir is the person that painted along with this. She does some incredible work. So if you guys could just stay just a little bit longer, give her a big ol' raid, that'd be awesome. But she did these studies with us earlier today, and it was such a blast. Had such a good time. Okay, let's go ahead and rate her. Alright, so if you have any questions about anything at all, you can feel free to message me on the Discord or the Instagram about any of the studies, any of the original work. You are more than welcome to. But I so appreciate you guys sticking around and painting around with me in this weird time. I don't usually stream at this point, but you guys still turned out with those studies, so I'm so proud of you guys. And I will see you later in Angevir's stream, and hopefully later today and tomorrow for some more studies. So cheers and have a good day.